just look for MP4 files. Search those types of files, and you'll see it.
So I think what I'm going to do is just go to the Zoom. Just go to Zoom file and look on the computer and see how that works out. But
we got to do what we got to do.
Exactly.
As my grandmama would say when we be beeping people, everybody got to drive at their own strength.
That's true.
If they gotta get in the slow lane, let them. So everybody learns differently. So we support you, sis.
So I'm in the slow lane on the computer. That's all.
Shout out to
just with the Zoom.
Helena,
what's up, Helena? She might be at work. I don't want to blow up the spot.
Hi.
How you doing, Helena?
I'm good. And I think that's Hater Mama too. She got the username, so Mama up on here.
Yeah, Mama.
Yeah.
Hey, Mama. She ain't saying nothing. She said,
"Hello,
hello, mother dear."
Hello.
Hello. She's like, hello.
I'm sorry. Put on your Saudi Arabia.
No.
She had to be the person that my son was interviewing from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, no, I gotta hear your Saudi Arabian accent. Yeah. I gotta hear that.
Oh Lord, she be in here talking like she from England and everything. The kids be looking at me like, Mama, wait a minute. Who is from England? I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay. All right. So yeah, let's get to the bottom of this. We are talking tonight about integrity. So what I want to know, so we'll just get to start it off with a question. What I want to know is that, does your integrity change over the course of your life?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, I mean, just like Tisha just said, absolutely, yes, your integrity does change over the course of your life.
If you have it.
Yeah. So determining like how our integrity changes. Like if you were a person that might have been a thief, but no longer stealing, you understand what I'm saying? Because integrity deals with justice. Integrity deals with your character. Integrity deals with, your morals, your values, what your beliefs are. And yes, if your beliefs change later on in life, then yes, your integrity and your character and all of those things change. Can our integrity stay the same? Is there any way that our integrity can stay the same? Can we be the same individuals that we were?
No.
It depends. Some people go through life and never change. They never grow. So it's a possibility that it can stay the same. It can stay right where they at. It depends on what happens to them in their life, their experiences and stuff. So
yeah, I think life makes you change. Life makes you change. I mean, there was a time I grew up in the Bronx, y'all, and we everything we could to get over. I remember having to go under the turnstile in the subway. My mama would push me under the turnstile. I remember, we would have to lie and say we 10 when we 12 because we had to pay if you was 12 and over and all of that kind of stuff. Like any way to not have to pay, not do whatever, all of that. So I think sometimes, it's a learned thing. And sometimes you're just trying to get over, you're trying to get ahead. And people will say, well, say this. If you say this, you could get that, and you're just trying to do whatever. But, at some point, some things, Disney World. Yes, Lord Jesus. Oh, yeah. My grandbaby was 2. She turned 3. It was her 3rd birthday. We was like, she 2. She
still. The price for Disney. Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm not even gonna lie.
Disney World.
My kids be 2 years old until for the rest of their life.
I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, so I think at some point, some things, because like you said, there are some things that we still gonna do. And but I think as we mature, there were some things we're just not gonna do anymore. We're just like, I'm not gonna go under the turnstile no more. There's certain things we just not gonna do. It's not worth it, I think. And there's just certain things you're just not gonna do.
You're absolutely correct, because like you just said, like we used to slip those things in there, and we used to be like, oh look, you know what? Listen, we going to the pool. Let's use this one. Listen, that child is like 2, that one's like 1, and then you start to realize, like, wait a minute, hold on, like I don't want to compromise who I am on a regular basis just so that I can pay a lower price, because I don't want to pay full price because of what the situation is. But, it always works out in a way where it's like, yo, when you're doing the right thing, it actually works out to your benefit. It actually benefits you by doing the right thing, because say like it was one time I think we had went to the movies, and what it was is that all the kids that we had is a certain day that movies were a specific price. So it was like $2 day or $1 day or something like that. So instead of us having to lie about the fact that we have a 3-year-old or whatever the situation is, we basically was like, oh no, we just going to the movies this day. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of going to the movies on an off day where the movies are $15 to get in or whatever the situation is. It's like, after a while you start to realize, oh, you know what? Is it worth all of this? And also where you're at, oh yeah, hey Mary, it's also when we start to realize who we are, and we don't necessarily, sometimes we just don't want to continue to keep living like that. And we don't want to continue to keep doing some of the things that we've been doing, because it weighs on our conscience. That's where it is. It weighs on our conscience. And the reason why it's weighing on our conscience is because you're getting closer. One, there's a possibility you could be getting closer to God, getting to know who you are as an individual. And God is telling you, okay, you don't even have to do it that way. You can do it my way. And see, his way is so, like, when we look at it, we're like, oh, we don't know where he's taking us. But see, that's where faith comes in. And if we're doing it his way, it always works out for the best. So it's not that he's not going to be with us when we do it a different way. It's just a mere fact that it seems like it's a little bit harder because of us not actually wanting to follow him, but integrity is a real deep thing, because it tells who our character is. Can we tell what a person's character is by when we meet them?
Can I say something?
Sure.
When you were talking about, does our integrity change? Well, the Bible says, when I was a child, I thought as a child. But now that I'm older, I put away those childish ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about maturing.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's about when you're maturing, you're mature with your relationship with God. So you put away those childish ways, because now you're maturing, your relationship is different.
Absolutely. And the question that I asked, what was the question?
You didn't finish it.
Oh, I think you did. Can we tell by talking to them their character or something?
Person, basically, when you talk to a person, if you can meet a person for the first time and you hold a conversation with them, can you tell what their integrity and their character is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
you sure
part.
can.
Yeah, in part.
Yeah.
So y'all believe that the first time you hold a conversation with somebody, you can tell what their character is about.
No,
Yes, yes.
You sure can.
yeah, like I said, in
I can tell
like
by what
for just meeting them the first time, yeah, there should be something you're able to pull away. Now, obviously, if it proves to not be true, you're going to find out because you're going to continue to spend time. You find out, oh, that was a front,
Yeah.
or maybe they just have some issues, but you really come away with it like, nah, man, they really a genuine person. You know, they just got some stuff they dealing with. See, sometimes we make it so black and white and we forget people have like all these nuances in people's lives, man, little things here and there. So I would say, yeah, I've met people, and on the first meet for that situation, I was like, man, hey, they seem to be, somebody, I mean, I don't know, I guess it's a hard word to say, somebody you could trust, but somebody you like, hey, man, they seem real. But like I said, I'm only basing that on the first time I met them. Like if I meet somebody the first time and then you ask me about somebody, oh yeah, I met them. They seem cool. We usually say that when first meeting. Now you might have a longer history and like, nah, well, listen. So
Yeah.
I say no.
No.
Yeah, I say no too.
I think when you meet somebody, you're meeting their representative.
Right.
Everybody's
wait.
nice on the
Explain that.
people are nice on the first meeting. They polite, they cordial, they just special. I think especially if it's a personal meeting. You know, if you're meeting people on business. I mean, I could say like I'm like my boss. I met my boss the first meeting. He was fabulous. That ain't the person he is. You know, I've dated guys. They put it on you the first meeting. But when you really get to know that person in conflict or if something happens, I don't think you can know somebody from a first meeting. I don't think you can know because they are showing you what they want you to see. You are meeting their representative.
Are you doing the same thing, Keisha?
I disagree.
I agree
I would
with
say
her.
yes. I would
with
say yes.
I agree
yes,
with
I
you.
do the same thing. If I go on a job interview, I'm not talking to them the way I talk here.
Mhm.
No, but we're talking about being like being genuine. You're being your genuine self, right?
Are
Now,
you
or
your genuine self? That's what he's saying. Are you always being your genuine self? So certain things just can't be compromised. If you're a person that believes in a certain type of, or you have these certain morals and these values about yourself, those things won't be compromised. So
right.
well, see, that's what that's what I said. That's a nuanced thing because that's where we might lay judgment on somebody and they're going through something. So I would say this about that. I can meet somebody for the first time, and because I'm being defensive, maybe I'm not being all of me, so you don't see all of me from that standpoint. But maybe not some outright, oh, I'm acting completely like this, but then I'm going to turn around and be completely like that. I see what you're saying with that. But if I'm gonna be honest, if I'm first meeting somebody, there are some guards, there's some type of guards up. Now, maybe some of them need to be down because somebody could feel like, oh, well, you tricked me because you acted like, well, nah, I had some guards up because, you know, and I obviously I know it's different for, especially when Tisha was talking about relationships, it's different for if a man meets a woman for the first time and a woman meets a man for the first time. That's a whole different ballpark because guys be stunting a lot of times, front way. They be like, oh, this is what I think she wants me. So then they put that on when maybe you shouldn't. You probably shouldn't, because if she likes it, you get disillusioned and then you continue with it. Like Trey, that's not you. But I mean, she like it though, so I'll play the part. Like, you get in trouble later on.
Eventually, the movie
you can still tell. I mean, if you pay attention, if you are paying attention and you are actually looking at the person and you're paying attention to them and they're talking, you can tell. You can tell when somebody's not being authentic. Now I can look at them and tell, and it's also a feeling you get when someone's talking to you and you listen to everything they say and you look at their facial expression, you can tell whether or not they're being real or not. And you also can tell whether it's an emotional front that they're putting up. They're trying to put on for something that's going on in the back. They're being different. You can tell if you pay attention. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I actually can tell. I really can tell when somebody is not being real.
Helena,
I can sense it.
Helena, what you say? Because she said no too.
Yeah, she did say no.
Like I agree with, I don't know who said it, but I agree with like people, they put on like a persona, what they want you to see. And then once you get to know them, sometimes people don't change, but sometimes they change and be like, boom, gotcha. So I don't know. I believe that
If a person talks long enough,
yeah,
you'll find out really where they're coming from. And so I say no, you can't. And I say, well, no, you cannot. That integrity does not really show, because if it's a male female situation, either the woman's trying to win the guy over, or the guy is trying to win the woman over. So they're going to be nice, they're going to be cordial, but they're still going to be conniving. Everybody has a history, but everybody has a history.
Yeah.
And so they're really going to try to, they don't want exposure the first time you meet.
But I think that's just a situation that we're talking about. So like you're talking about a male and a female situation. You could be, it's so many different situations where your integrity is not compromised and people know exactly, they know what type of person you are by how you come off. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like they know whether or not you're like, you know what, maybe this person's like a stern person. I remember when I was, what was this? This was a couple of years back, but I remember when I was just meeting, it was your sister, Trey. I was just meeting Joy, but she's never, this was years ago when because I worked with Joe. I had worked with one of my girlfriends, and basically I used to always be at her house all the time. And I was always this person that like, I just had this thing about like disciplining kids. It didn't matter who they was. So basically I was like, me and my girlfriend was pretty close. And then Joy was coming over one day. Joe was having something and Joy was coming over. And I remember Joy telling me that, I did not like her the first time I met her because I was so hard. Like I was like with these kids, I was like, nope, we ain't doing that. Nope, we gotta, get your stuff together. And this was dealing with not just my own children, but dealing with Joe's kids too. And I was like always on like bedtime, let's go 8:00, come on. And then Joy was like, why is she like doing so much with your kids? And like, she's doing so much, but that's how I was. You understand what I'm saying? Because I was like that with all kids. She didn't realize that a lot of children used to come over to my house. And I used to take care of a lot of kids. I used to babysit them. My girlfriend used to drop her children off with me all the time. So when it came down to the children, it was like, I was real hard, stern. This is what you're doing. Now I'm not that way now, but I don't want to say I'm not as hard and not as stern as I was. I'm a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding, willing to hear you out, that type of way. But I was always like that. But at the same time, it was like, this is what it is. And that comes from that stems from another place. You understand what I'm saying? Because of where, you know, your life and also what you were taught as you were raised and growing up. So yes, do I believe that? I don't believe that who I am as a person changes directly. I was never like this person that will go up to you and directly want to steal your money and stuff like that. And that doesn't mean that my integrity didn't change. It just means that me as a person, I've come to know who I am as a person, and that has changed. My character has changed. So I don't believe that you actually see the full effect of a person when you first meet them. That's what I don't believe, because people change constantly depending on where they are in their lives and also depending on what they're going through. And at that time, no, I was not married. I was a single mother. So that also played a role in why I was so hard on children as well. So, you know, that's why I'm saying, like, I think that when we first meet a person, we don't really get to fully know exactly who that person is unless we are taking the time out to get to know them. And Joy even said that. She was just like, yo, when I got to know you, yo, it was like love. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she's a sweetheart. She saw me as being that person, like, you're a little tough cookie, but at the same time, you got this soft spot about you that nobody really, like, you don't know unless you get to know who you are. So yeah, I think that our integrity and our character, it changes as we progress in life and as we go through life. Like Tisha was saying, you go through life. I think life teaches you a lot, and basically it teaches you more about your integrity and what you're not willing to compromise and what you were willing to compromise you know, before. So
Well, you can, I want to ask you this then, but do you believe that you can come away with as we say, a first impression, whether you walking away saying I like them or I don't like them, right? When you meet somebody, you know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, you could come away and be like, yo, I don't think I like that person. I've even been in positions like that. Like, yo, I don't think I like that person. Like, they too aggressive. You understand what I'm saying? And I may not even know. Listen, that's where that judgment comes in. Like, who said that they was too aggressive? I said it. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why I said it is because of how that person may have came off. But who knows what that person is going through? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Wait, you use yourself as an example. It's funny you said that. The first time I think the first time I was with you for any length of time is when we all went to Virginia. So you talk about first impressions. Real talk. I think I was almost like Joy, because I was like, yo, Jonice's. We was like, yo, what's up with Jonice's friend? Because like you were constantly like, and so I just kept saying to myself, yo, this Latrice. And then funny, I'm not gonna name nobody because it don't really matter now, but somebody had like an inkling. They was like, oh man, I want to talk to Latrice, but they were afraid. They were afraid. I was cracking up every time, like you. Oh no, I'm about to blow. So every time you came up, no, because they were.
Nah, I don't think I'm gonna say nothing because you know I'm a little hard.
No, I was
so like a rock.
Yeah. So from then to now, I'm like with my sister. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Like when you first meet somebody, and then the trajectory, and now you're like, oh, you know.
But what? Can I point out something you said? This person wanted to talk to Latrice, but was afraid. Now you see how that's two separate things. Yeah. They sensed something good in her. They were comfortable with her as a person, like just meeting her. They wanted to talk to her. There was a reason why they wanted to talk. They felt something good with her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you were saying they were afraid of her, maybe a little intimidated. Yeah. But that had to do with they didn't know how to approach her.
Yeah. No, you're right, because this person
it's an approach.
has a good read. He has a
He
good
has
read
right.
on people.
He
I
read
mean,
it
for
right.
real. He'd be
read-
like,
yeah.
yeah,
He
no,
read it
that's
right.
good.
So you can, if you pay attention, and I think that's what it is, people don't pay attention to people.
Yeah.
We're so busy, listening to like what's coming out of their mouth, but you gotta look at everything. You gotta pay attention to what you're feeling as they're talking. You have to look at their facial expression, all of that stuff. And you can tell when somebody tells you something, you can feel whether or not it's true, whether they're lying. You can feel it if you pay attention. You can look at someone, everybody, you can tell them everybody. Now, my brother, he swear, he be sitting up there, I don't know why he just lied to me. We a little bit too old for him to be lying. What you lying for?
Yeah.
Okay, why are you lying? I can tell. And I'm like, I can look at people and I say, now why they just lying? Like people at work, like y'all just, why you lying?
Why you lying?
I can tell you lying. You know what I mean? You can tell if you pay attention. It's that instinct we have. God gives us an instinct when we talk to somebody so we don't get in trouble, depending on who it is.
Yeah.
He gives us the gift of like discernment within to say, pay attention, all right.
Yeah.
I'm giving you this instant, pay attention. Now pay attention to them, listen to what they're saying and be in tune to what you're feeling. And that's what that is. You can tell pretty much whether somebody is good and they're just going through something, or somebody you need to stay away from them. That comes off right away.
Yeah.
It comes off right away, but a lot of times we ignore it because we'll put them in that box as to say, oh, they have a bad day, they must be going through something, they're human or whatever have you. And we always try to justify that because we as people, we don't like to leave people hanging. We don't like to just throw people by the wayside, especially women. We have this nurturing spirit that we give everybody.
Are you then saying the reverse of what we was talking about a couple of weeks ago about the red flag? Like, there's a problem, but you ignore it. So you can see the good, but you like, nah, you ignore the good and just, I'm going to continue with, because think about it. Sometimes it's more comfortable to be like, listen, it's better for me to just view them like this because I don't even want to get entangled in whatever, even though, like you said, you see like, oh, they're all right. But you just, for whatever reason, some of our past experiences have us seeing good things. Actually, it's funny, seeing people that really want to reach out and help you, but your past says, no, eventually you're going to let me down. So you will ignore, you won't even take the time to see, like what you said, Erica, what you can actually see and know, because you're like, nah.
But see, and then now, it's like you said, that falls back on us, though. That's not them. That's us. That's internal stuff. So we're taking our internal stuff and putting it on them. They could be a nice person, but because we have been down, we think we've been down this road before, we just hold back. And we're saying, oh, well, they, it's there. We put it all on them, but it's our insecurity, but we're going to place our security on somebody else.
Was that an integrity? Is that an integrity thing then we talking about?
No, that's not, I don't think that's integrity.
You don't think so?
What your insecurity?
The like you said, like it's not them, it's us, but we're acting like it's them because we don't want anything to do with them. So I was asking, does that tie in?
Well, it ties into integrity because basically we're not telling ourselves that we're basically not honest enough with ourselves. That's why we're throwing it on them. Because we know what's wrong with us. We know when we got issues and we're trying to use someone as an scapegoat, because that's at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, using another human being as an scapegoat because we're not able to deal with our own insecurities and our own issues. So now we're compromising ourselves.
Is that's integrity though?
Well, okay.
Are you telling yourself the truth or are you telling yourself a lie?
Well, okay.
I think about integrity in a different way. I think it's the ability to do right, even basically behind closed doors when nobody is looking. So the ability to do right, period. And that means out in the open and behind the scenes.
Integrity.
Wait a minute, man. Wait.
I'm not thinking about it as internal. I'm thinking about it as our actions, meaning integrity as our actions. Like you know you ain't supposed to be stealing just because this ink pen is sitting at work and you use this ink pen to do your job. Then nobody say take it home. You know what I mean? So, and that's behind the scene. You taking ink pens from work and you taking them. That's not integrity. You're still stealing.
Still stealing.
You know what I mean?
Well, listen.
But I think about it differently.
Well, Erica's stealing thoughts out of my head because I'm
scared. I'm scared.
Yeah.
That was my next, well, not the question, but I was going to say, for me, right.
Barry, for real?
Integrity, I was going to say, integrity looks like, all right, what am I doing when you guys aren't watching me? So my focus is on that, because if my focus is on that, I don't have to worry about putting on anything when I'm in front of y'all, because I'm being who I am when nobody's watching. So there's no need to in that sense, let me make sure I put my makeup on. Like, no, there's no makeup to put on. You are who you are in the back, in the private.
Remember, 2 weeks ago, we said the same thing. It's not what people say, it's what they don't say.
Yeah.
And it's not what they do, it's what they don't do. And so because somebody pretends to be away in front of you, you don't know when you first meet them, because somebody else said it, they do and say all the right things, right? But if you had a camera somewhere where they went and they thought nobody was looking, do they still feel the same way? Are they still saying the same things? Are they still doing the same things?
Absolutely, yep. That's what they used to call people who are two-faced. That you're gonna sit in front of my face and be nice, but then you will go out behind my back and talk about me.
Hello. Shoot.
No, that's good.
That's integrity. You one way in the open, but behind closed doors, you're different.
You're totally different, and that's your integrity is compromised.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't know Dr. Jekyll is in behind those closed doors.
But see, that's why I said sometimes when you meet someone, there could be a lot of things going on. So integrity focuses more on the person's, like, if I want to say lifespan, instead of this momentary thing or event that you may have happened to witness.
Yeah.
More or less, like, no, give me 25 events when they're acting like that. Then you're like, oh, okay, yeah. But not, you caught me on a bad day. Before we started, we talked about this, like, what type of week was it? Like, I felt like I could have killed somebody, or something like that. See, that's a bad moment. That's not like all year. Like, it ain't like 2020. All you've been doing is choking people. And that's now we like, yeah, you a choker. So, but
he's a
murderer.
Use choker. He had to use choking.
I had to find something. I didn't know what to use. Like, yeah, choker.
He's out here doing things.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, I think what I'm thinking too, like, not only behind the scenes stuff, but some stuff that you admit, like when you admit, like, man, I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
And you tell somebody, a lot of times you're going a long way, because they're like, wow, man, they didn't have to tell me they was wrong. I would have never known, but they came to me and was like, yeah, man, remember when you said this? Well, I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
But that's not an easy thing to do. It depended on what it is and who you dealing with. That's
accountability. That's holding yourself accountable. You know what I mean?
Also
like
growth.
Yeah, growth.
Right.
That's right.
Because your integrity is based on your own personal ethics. Your personal ethics, how you even perceive yourself.
Yeah.
So everybody has integrity then. It depends just what level.
And yes, we all have integrity. I mean, everybody don't have integrity.
So what Ms. Pat said, listen, somebody's values might not be like yours, but that's what they value.
That's what they value. That's what they value.
She said, no.
The integrity is doing what's right, regardless. Everybody in this world ain't right.
What's right? See,
and they ain't trying to be right.
Listen, what's
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's defining stuff. Listen, what somebody calls right. Now,
Right.
me and you might not agree
Okay,
with
oh,
that.
I see, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Some people, regardless of, somebody could, let's say, like a serial killer, well, let's say a serial killer, that's the wrong, because he said choke, and see, now I got but let's say this person, and they actually think it's nothing, they just go ahead, and this is what they do, this is what they enjoy, and they believe it's all right, so they just keep doing it. So they may think, I guess in their mind, it's cool, nothing wrong with it, it's all right. You know,
Well, that's where ethics has these different lines. People have different.
But that's integrity.
Not everybody has morals. Not everybody has morals.
Okay.
Morals and the same values.
So that's different than integrity with the morals and the values. So they since they don't have morals and values, they don't have anything to bounce their integrity off of. So they ain't got no integrity. So you can't have nothing if you don't have no morals and values. You don't have nothing to go by.
Well, see, usually when we say no one has morals, we base it on our morals, and if they don't match up to that, we like, yo, man, they don't have good moral, or what society thinks. Like, there's genuine thing, like basic things that society's like, listen, man, like don't go kick some old lady in the middle of the street. Like, yo, you do that, almost everybody is like, dang, bro, where your morals at?
Yeah.
But it gets.
Hold on, go ahead, Tisha.
There's people, you know, there's drug dealers that have a limit. They'll be like, okay, we're not killing no kids, right? So they'll leave the house. They got a plan. They going to kill Pookie because Pookie owed them money. Okay, Pookie.
Did she say Pookie? Okay, good.
Always Pookie. Always
Pookie, little brothers and sisters, because Pookie ain't but 16 himself. But Pookie got little brothers and sisters. They go into his house and they gonna shoot up everything. But Kiki said, I'm not killing the kids. All right, we're gonna pull Pookie out the house. We're gonna kill him, but we're not killing them kids. I'm not doing it. So that's where he draws the line. That's his value. That's where he draws the line. Whereas the rest of them would have just blew up everybody in the house. And if the mama answered the phone, they would have riddled her with bullets and called, you know, because they trying to get back at him. And to hurt his mom is even better than killing him, because he has to live with the fact that his wrongdoing cost his mother her life. So there's people that, you know, they out to get whatever they can get. And they've been living this lifestyle for a minute, and it's just, they live in the streets, they die by the streets. And that's just what it is. And they don't care about integrity. You know, they feel
but his integrity, that means that his integrity is the fact that he voiced that I am not killing children, and what I said outwardly, I'm if nobody looking, I'm still gonna hold to it. So that's his integrity.
That was his line, right?
Not to kill no kids. So I kept my word, period.
Right. But see, some, depending on where they've been, like some people feel like they've been done wrong, so they don't care. You know, they're like, listen, you know, I lost that job, or they didn't want to hire me because I had a record, or because I was black, whatever. I done been through this, or they got dogged around, so they don't care about the next person. They're angry with what happened to them in their lives. You know, so hurt people. You know, and some people are just rough. They just, you could tell, you know, people that's just rough. They ain't gonna change. You know, people come to church and they still rough. People have had hard lives. They will slit your throat in a heartbeat. There's people that'll sit next to you in church and pray with you. You get up and go to the bathroom and they will steal your money pocketbook. I've seen it happen. I grew up in the Bronx. I done seen it all in New York City, and you know, one time everybody stopped. They stopped the service because somebody took somebody's pocketbook. They went up to the to put money in the plate for offering, and somebody took their pocketbook, and they stopped everything because they was like, I can't believe this happened here, but it happened.
I mean,
I'm going to put the meaning of integrity out of the dictionary. I'm going to put it down here. Well, I just read it. Now, I just looked up integrity, and it says the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness, the state of being whole and undivided.
Yeah. So is that
Now,
taught?
that means that everybody, now being okay, now see honesty. Now somebody could say, "Well, I'm gonna kill your mama," and they can be honest about that, and they do it.
They honest about it.
They
Yep.
honest about it, but strong moral principles. That's the only thing is you got to break down moral principles. What is moral?
Right. That's right. That's where everybody like that's like a big man. It's like a shapeless thing. I mean, it depends.
Is it universal though? Is it universal? When you say morals, are you talking about universal morals, meaning as applied in the like that's from the Bible, morals, those kind of morals?
I think just moral. I mean, I think like you said, just a basic, like okay, good example. Treating every human being with dignity, right? Not mowing them over. That's considered okay. You got basic morals when you're treating people right. You're not doing anything to them. You're not attacking them. You're not assaulting them or something like that. I mean, but like I said, it's so.
Is this taught? Is
what
integrity taught? Is it learned? Because I'm just saying, or is it something that's instilled? It's already just there.
I think it's there.
I think we're born with it. But I think what happens is we get out here in this world and we're raised in an environment, and we naturally stray away from it because of what we see, what we listen to, what we're exposed to. It changes. So I think we're born with natural integrity to do right.
Yeah.
But if you are in an environment where people are doing certain things that maybe are not right, shouldn't be, you learn their behavior, and that's how you stray from it. You do what you see.
Well, I can tell you this. When I lived in New York, I had cousins. If we had a family gathering, we would have to put our bags in the closet because we knew certain people was coming to the house.
I know that's right. That's right.
Put them coats and them bags in that closet.
Don't put no money up in there. Put your money in your pocket.
And
you didn't have to live in New York to do that.
And don't let them go in the bedroom.
Hey, I done had family steal from me, so I know.
Uncle Rico coming over.
I used to hide my money under my bed.
Okay.
The mattress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they only got a few minutes if they claiming to go to the bathroom. So
Right.
they can't find everything.
Listen, ain't nobody gonna go up there and tear up my mattress. So I used to put the money.
Where the bathroom at?
Where the bathroom at?
And wait a minute, and if they pass 2 minutes, then you down the hall behind them. Are you okay? You just want
you got lost. They gonna come out the bedroom talking about they got lost.
Check on Pookie.
Right, T-shirt, right? They talk about something. Oh, I got lost. I thought this was the bed. It ain't no
outside the bathroom till she come out.
Then you grandma somebody go check on Pookie.
Check.
You know, cause my fur is back there, and I don't want him walking out here with my fur.
Yep. All of a sudden, she gotta go.
But wait, to what Tisha said about the drug dealer. Like I'm looking at the same definition that Erica is, and I'm looking at like the similar words. So some of them is nobility and things like that. So think about it. You had some dudes in the hood. You like, yo, that's a noble dude. He a drug dealer, but he has lines he won't cross. So a lot of people view him as, yo, man, it's an upright dude. Even though he'll be like, yeah, man, he shouldn't be selling drugs. But listen, this is a guy you can trust if you need to get something done, or he looks out for his own. So that's why I said it depends on what in what box or in what context are we talking. Like, okay, let's say for instance, okay, so on the street, this dude selling drugs, everything, boom, noble. But if you're the pastor and you selling drugs, see how it is. You're like, wait a minute, bro, where your integrity at? Yeah, you know.
That
So
means you're not doing what you preaching. You're not living what you're talking.
Right.
That's not matching up.
Because I met people who be like, yo, this is my life. Like, in the subject, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna make sure I take care of my family, hold it down, whatever the situation is. Yeah. They know who they are in their family.
I think a case can be made, like you said, if you got an individual who's just like mowing down everybody, is not demonstrating care for nothing. Because like you said, we can pull the example of the drug dealer, like, yo, man, he loves his community, this and that. Now you can criticize what that looks like, but you can't criticize, yo, man, his intent, right? He wants to, you know, I mean, obviously, I like I said, I'm not going like amen it, but I can be like, yo, man, this dude, hey.
He want to make sure everybody eat.
Yeah. Now, to your question, that's, I mean, because I'm just looking at the definition. Okay, a quality of being honest. So that being right there tells me this is just a consistent thing. It's not something, oh, you know what? I became a person with integrity on boom, boom, 19 something, something. Like, no, this is like it's like, you know, that's like saying, yo, I breathed 5 years ago. Okay, since then, have you, you know,
Are you not breathing?
Are you not breathing? Right. What are you doing? You know.
Around dead.
I've been holding my breath. I've been holding my breath for 10 years. I'm strong. Like, no. So integrity, like you said, the quality of being honest. So there's this life of, like you said, this life of honesty, this life of strong principles. So, I mean, I don't like I said, I mean, if someone asked me that, it would be hard for me to say, because I know we use that expression, man, they ain't got no morals. Or they will say they don't have no integrity. And a lot of times we're basing, like you said, we're basing it on what you put before us, and we find out, oh, you's a lying liar. As my grandma used to say, oh, you's a lying lie. Yeah.
Oh, that's
a lying lie. We was like, what's a lying lie?
The truth ain't in you.
I said, you make that easy. He said, person ain't he? No, yeah, lying lie.
You're a lying lie.
Yeah,
you're a lie, and the truth ain't in you.
Right, the truth ain't in you.
The truth ain't in you, right? I was like, oh, dang. So why you mad? Because the truth ain't in me. Why you mad? This is who I am.
This is who I am. But see, that's the problem. Why is it that we can't accept people for who they are?
What?
Why are we looking for them to be something different?
But that depends, though. That's a good question. That depends. Because what if one of your kids say, Mom, they acting up school, Mom, this is who I am. You know you're not going to accept that.
Because you know it's not right. See, that's the thing. When you know something is not the right way, that's what makes you angry. It's to sit there and watch somebody be so and do things that are so wrong, and not by your own standards. What you know, basically biblically, what you know, and what is natural for you, like, you know, biblically speaking, with the principles and stuff like that. When you see people acting out or beside that, then you start to judge and say, "What's wrong with you?" Now you know better than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, why?
So let me ask you a question. Because we went through this Bible study lesson not too long ago. Cain and Abel.
Oh yeah.
So integrity. God knew his heart. He knew exactly who he was. So that's why I asked the question, is like, we know who, like, I would know my children. I would know what type of, you know, you see that. You see what type of child you have. You see whether or not you got the ones that, you know, are just a little on edge at times. You know your kids. So at the end of the day, how do you address that if you know that you have a child that just compromises integrity all the time, that tells lies and things of that nature? Like, you hold a conversation with them and let them know, like, look, you don't have to lie. Your boy who cried wolf, you could tell them as many stories as you want, but that's who they are. That's what they do. You understand what I'm saying? So until they're ready to basically get a better understanding of who they are in Christ, they're almost like they're being compromised on a regular basis, because they're fighting with themselves.
Well,
like, God knew Cain. He knew Cain and he knew Abel. Did he not? God knew exactly.
But he did. And you know what? In the Bible, I forgot whose husband it was that God had, he got rid of. He actually killed somebody's husband because he saw that their heart was bad, and he just killed them. I can't remember who that was. It was someone's husband in the Bible, and I'm gonna look it up. But he said he saw that his heart was bad, so he killed him. I truly believe that just like in biblical times, you had people who were just evil and there was nothing you could do with them. They were going to be that way regardless. Same way in this world. We can try to change folk. We can sit up there and try to pray them through whatever. There are just some individuals on this earth who are only here to cause and wreak havoc, and it is nothing you can do with them. And when you run across them, you'll know it. You'll definitely know. You just some people are just that.
It's some people
not even circumstances. It's not even circumstances or anything like that. It's just that they were born
dark
into this world. Dark. They were born dark, and they just came here, and that's it.
Are they just born dark? Because don't we all have some form of light? It's just whether or not we're feeding that darkness or feeding that light.
I don't know, because if God saw that he was evil and took somebody out because they was evil, I don't know.
Well, man, that's wow. That's a.
You know what I mean? If God saw that and he saw that heart and said, "Oh, he was just evil. I got to get rid of him." I mean, I don't know. Was he born that way?
That's two different things. Like
I gotta look at it. I'm gonna look that up.
Me and you and anybody else. Obviously, we can't see that far to know someone. God can. But to what Erica said earlier, and to the point about how you're born, how you're not born.
Yeah.
Cain, if you remember, when he talked to Cain, he let him know, actually, Cain, you're not made to do that. Because he said, if you do well, will you not be rewarded? And then he tells him, because he says sin is waiting to attack you, but he says you have dominion over it. So he's already telling him, the way I've made you, just like every other person, you have the power. The question is, do we use integrity? Right. Because it's there. Every human being is made in the image of God, and every human being has, I'll say it like this: you're born with a natural law in you. That's why you can, some things people don't even have to tell you. You already know it's right or wrong. Like a baby, you correct a baby. Why does a baby turn around to see if you looking or not? They already, in some form or fashion, know.
It's innate.
Right, it's innate. Wait.
Oh, what you say, Mary?
No, that's true, Mary. That's the point. Yes, they sneaky.
As heck.
Yes,
they sneaky.
Yeah. So the sneaky, they got it honest because they realized, wait a minute. But some way I should be doing what my mom told me. But I want to do what I want.
Because it's a selfish nature and it's already there. It's already inside of us. It's all it's about is whether or not you're feeding it.
I reject that only a little bit because God made me. So I don't think he put anything evil in me.
I don't believe.
Well, he made this. Wait, doesn't the Bible mention that he makes good and bad? Doesn't that say that in the Bible that God?
We were created.
I know what text you're talking about. But it's not right.
We were created in his image.
If you read it just black and white like that, that's what it looks like. But he's talking about when he makes a judgment, like when you talked about the husband that he killed. When he's saying good and evil, he's talking about what he has to do against someone who goes against him. Not that he created evil.
Yeah.
Because he did not create evil.
That's
a mystery.
Well.
Like,
right? He created all things well. He created all things good. So that means he created us to do well and do good.
Now,
but
evil,
we have this selfish nature about us, and consider the flesh.
Okay, so now I was going to say, now where does that selfish nature come from? Now God created us in his image, and God he's not selfish or anything like that. So where does it come from? If God created us in his image, where does that selfish nature come from? Because evidently the devil had it and got his butt thrown down here on earth because of it. So where does it come from?
I don't know, but I'd like to send it back.
I know that's right.
My daughter got about 14 dosage of it.
She said 14.
She got a whole bunch of double doses.
I mean, we're not going to understand everything, of course,
Yeah.
you know, and the Bible even says that we are not going to understand everything. That is, but you know, sometimes I wonder, I'll say, okay.
Well, see, that's where, okay, no, you're right. So like you said, it's a big mystery. So then I try to get what I do understand. So going back to the conversation God had with Cain, when you read that passage, the way the Bible describes it is almost like, listen, like you said, if you do well, I'm going to reward you. If not, there's something. So sin is talked about like as like this figure waiting for you.
It's crouching at the door. That's
right.
What he
So
I'm gonna have to read that. I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, you read that, because when you look at it like from a literary standpoint, that's something that's opposite God, because God is telling him, if you do well, I'll reward you. If not, that's waiting for you. So that's that's already opposite. So it can't be from God, because then it would not make sense in terms of, hey, make a choice. Yeah. Right, because then it wouldn't be a choice. It would just be, oh, it's me on this side and then it's me on the other side.
You absolutely correct, because that's why he gave us why he gave us choice. That's why he gave us choice. Now,
I'll show you another
we have to choose. We have to make a choice. Basically, who are you going to feed? I'm sorry, go ahead, Trey.
No, I was just going to say real quick too. This is another interesting thing that people don't think about. Like when you go to Genesis, before the whole, okay, they disobeyed this or that, he said, there's a tree in there that has the knowledge of good and evil. So evil in some way, shape, or form was already, like you said, around, but it didn't have access to us until we decided not to listen. So in a sense, it's almost like you opened up a door that you didn't need to open up. So because of that, that influence is now heavy. And because we are free will beings, we can ride either way. Because I know a lot of people like to make the argument, oh, you Christians are mind controlled. I said, well, if they mind controlled, they do a lot of stuff that God don't want them to do. They're mind controlled.
Right.
I don't get that. If you mind controlled, why would God want me to?
Don't you want to slap Eve for getting that darn fruit off that you just want to slap?
Oh, why you blaming?
I wish I could reach.
Why you blaming Eve?
because she was told not to touch it.
Because she was a master manipulator.
Because he told her. What did he say? He said you are not to eat from the tree in the midst of the garden. All them darn trees around. Their girlfriend had to go and get that one.
Wait a minute, both of them did it.
She was, yes, both of them did. One.
But no, wait a minute, both of them did, but wasn't the devil, the serpent, talking to her? She got it up off of it and gave it to him.
So she decided to listen to the serpent.
She decided to listen to the serpent. But now I'm not blaming her wholeheartedly, because God made commitment with Adam. He gave Adam the instruction.
There you go.
Adam was the one responsible for them. When she put that in his face, he should have said, "Now, what is that? what is it? What's going on? What's going on, Eve? What you got going on? Where did you get that from? Oh, I got it from." Now you know the father said. What did he say?
I don't want to.
But what did he do? What did he so busy looking into Eve's eyes? He told me, "Oh, girl, I'll take a."
Just take a little piece of my heart now, baby.
All he heard was that music right in the trees. He just heard that music.
He heard the wind. It was like, listen.
You want to snatch both of them and say, "What's wrong with y'all?"
Listen.
Okay. The one tree, all them trees, y'all just got to do that. But you know what? That's human nature. You tell us we can't, we just want to.
And I look at it like this too. It shows that we truly are, as humans, we truly are able to make our own choices.
Yeah.
There's not this, because they were in a situation where they had a choice, but they were fascinated by what they saw, because they said they looked at the tree and it was good. I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of interesting things just surrounding that. Just like I said, not too long ago, I was just thinking about the fact that, well, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. If I'm reading this, they didn't even mess up yet, but evil's already here, because a lot of people say, oh, Adam brought evil. Like, no, it was already here, but it didn't have access to us. And I was telling Latrice the other day, it's almost like when we're children, man, listen, when we were kids, there was a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. But at that moment in time, because we were kids, we were like shielded from it. Like, we would see stuff, but it wouldn't take root like it would with an adult. And that's because we at the certain time, we were just like shielded from it. So Adam and Eve were like shielded from some things, but then they was like, in a sense, they were like, oh, soon as they did what they wanted to do, oh, you want to act grown? Here you go. Now you're gonna find out what all this is about.
Absolutely.
You didn't have to find out.
That's a good point. Because when we're children, we don't know nothing.
No, listen.
We don't know anything at all.
We'll laugh about stuff that now I'm like, dang, I laughed about that because I had no concept of the weight of this.
That's why the people say ignorance is bliss. That's why people say,
man, is it? That's why sometimes, think about it. We'll do this sometimes. When someone wants to tell you something, listen, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're like, I don't want to know.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want it, because less information, the better off. They say you less stress with less information. I don't want to know nothing else.
Because it affects you.
Yeah.
That's why at certain times somebody, man, I got to turn the news off.
Yeah.
It's overload. Yeah. So that's already a human thing to be. Things get into our mind and our heart. So God being loving, saying, like you said, we got the big question mark of, well, wait a minute, where did evil come from in the first place? We don't know. But second of all, we realize how weighty it is. And then third, God's like, okay, I want to keep them away from that, because that's just going to open Pandora's box. And here they go. They wound it up like, well, listen, everything look good. Boom. And so we're in, you know what I mean? We're in these things. That's why we're having these type of discussions. Like, and even that, like, I guess one of the questions I'm coming away with now is, okay, we got integrity. So all these things y'all was bringing up, morality, ethics, things like that. I'm like, yo, how are they related? Like, how close? Is one closer than the other? Is there some like similarities? I mean, obviously there's some similarities, but like on what level? Because like I said, if I say someone doesn't have any morals, but we usually base it on our set of morals that we live upon. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. Growing up, I felt like I saw more people who were focused on, let me make sure I'm doing what I need to do in front of everybody. And so that had an effect. So my thing growing up was, oh, you're for instance, you're immoral if you drink, smoke, or have sex before you're married. So that was so when I was a young boy, that was the scope of my thing. So anytime, stuff beyond that, I was like, oh, I don't know, but that was the scope. But then when I started doing that stuff, then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, am I? So yeah, it just leads to a lot of questions. But I think good questions, because like you were saying earlier, we got to continue to grow and learn, and your integrity can get stronger because you're like, okay, I got to do better. And so it's a life challenge, lifetime, lifespan. And we got to be, like you said, we got to be great. We got to be more gracious with one another, man. Sometimes we're so harsh, but it's funny. Sometimes we go through things, or God allows us to go through things, and now I can now see you better. So I'm now like, I'm not coming at you like, dang, Latrice, why is she now I can't do that now. It's funny, I can't do that now, and I don't want to do that now because of my own experiences. So I realized, oh, like for instance, just growing up in church or being a PK or something like that don't automatically. No. What happens if you get in the mud? What happens when you've been in the mud? Like for real, like, no, listen, y'all, I've been in the mud. That changes the whole game. Like I said, if I never got in the mud, I'd be on here like, yo, man, why
are they talking about that?
Yeah.
Why
what you say?
I said, why are they talking about that?
Yeah. Or I mean, real talk. You be sitting there like, dang, man, you had a baby out of wedlock. Like you, like okay. Now on one end, I can say, okay, I don't think that's the best.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we talked about this a little bit last night. I want to have empathy in my heart, so I can say to you, like if I had a son, and he 13 or 14, whatever, and he's a dad, I'm about to be a dad. Man, I'll be mad. I'm gonna be hot. But at the same time, within that heat, I have to have empathy and not kill the boy.
Yeah, exactly.
But see, we don't know how to balance. We either hanging them up, going to string them up, or we act like it didn't happen.
Exactly. But we're not even talking about how back even our grandparents, they were like 14, 15 years old having babies. You understand what I'm saying? So what they did is they instilled in us not to have kids out of wedlock because of what it did to them. It instilled it in their children. And then what it did to their children was basically instilling it in us now, the children's children, to don't have kids out of wedlock. Don't do this, don't do that. You shouldn't be having kids until you're about this, this, and this. And because of some of the things that they had to endure with having children. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was not abnormal for them to even be married at like 15. You understand what I'm saying? But for us, it would be abnormal because that's not the culture in the society that we in right now. So
that integrity thing too, I thought about this, like me being a man, one thing I used to hear a lot too when it talking about men and integrity, 90% of the time it had to deal with like how you treated women, right? If you were a man of integrity, especially like if you say you were married, but you were somewhere and your wife wasn't around, how are you acting? Are you like flirting with everybody, you in everybody's face? Things like that. And I'm like I said, I'll say for man, we remember, okay, a couple of weeks we've been talking about like how bribery is real funny, how the Bible always talking about bribery, because that gets to the heart of things, like money makes you, manipulating this and that. Well, with integrity for men, I can't speak for women. For men, an integral part of integrity is your sexual ethic. For men, that's the main, because I thought about this other word too, discipline. See, integrity needs discipline, because you working on yourself. You are, building repetition, and to build repetition and to be good takes discipline, takes a practice. And like, okay, listen, like full disclosure, if I'm every day I go out and I'm a single dude, every day, every other. Now this is not saying women shouldn't do this. This is just putting out this situation to where it's very interesting, but men still got to be accountable for themselves. So every time I go out, every other woman I see is rocking the yoga joint, the yoga pants and all that, right? So I've heard dudes say, yo, they need to stop. Listen, listen. That has nothing to do with your end of what you need to do, how you need to think, right? You could see that's the old school argument where, like you said, old school church where you vilifying. Listen, what about when they didn't have and when they had dresses that went up under the shoe? You still had dudes doing that. So you know so it's bigger than yoga pants. It's the fact that, oh, that's a woman. That's the key. That's the actual key. It's a woman, you're a man, you're naturally attracted.
You're actually attracted.
Yeah. So think about this. So that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. But what we talked about earlier, we open Pandora's box. So now the good thing runs into corruption. And so you just like, yo. So now you have to build a discipline and a reputation and a repetition so that you can walk in integrity. So actually, yeah, I'm gonna answer your question you said earlier. I look at it almost like this. Integrity is like this place.
Yeah.
You got to walk, you got to get to it.
Get to it.
Yeah, get to it. And try to stay there. Because you'll be tempted to like, come on, man, get out of there. Why are you still in the integrity city? You better get out of there, man.
Because you'll be real tempted to get to not, you're tempted on a regular basis to not even have integrity. Because I mean, look at all the temptations that's out here. But the reality is that being able to stay grounded in who you are in Christ, that's a lot. You know, that says a lot. And it also says, you know, and it doesn't mean that just because if somebody is not grounded in Christ or whatever the situation is that they can't get there. You understand what I'm saying? It just means that we all got still work. We all got a lot of work.
Well, what are some things you do? Give me some tips. Like, what are some things you do to stay? Because like you said, if we all get attacked on some level, what are some things you do to stay?
Well, me personally, in order for me to stay grounded, I try to stay prayed up. But at the same time, that always don't work. My thing is that I struggle. I know who I am, so I struggle a lot.
Wait a minute, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about it not always working?
I'm frustrated. I be mad as ever because I be like, yo, I failed. Like, yo, I failed that test.
That's because you're in your flesh. That's because we're warring. Our flesh wars against we war in our flesh.
Yes.
And so that's why, to your answer, Trey, that we fight with that integrity. We're warring with that. And so then we become overcome with guilt.
Yes.
You understand? Yes. We become overcome with guilt, but then we forget, he said, there is no condemnation. You understand? But there also that we are going to be tempted. He said that in his word, we're going to be tempted.
But he also said he make a way of escape for us.
That's right. He tells us how. So when and then that's why he allows us to ask for forgiveness. How many times a day did he say he forgive us?
70 times 7.
Yeah.
Because he knows you're going to be tempted. He knows that we strive for perfection. We're not perfect. We're imperfect, but we strive for perfection. And you're going to be tempted. You're going to your integrity sometimes is compromised, and your morals are compromised on a regular basis. I mean, seriously, sometimes, I think of the little things. That's why when you're praying and he said, forgive you of your trespasses and forgive those who trespass against you, you don't even know some of those trespasses. You're not even aware of them.
Wickedness in high places, you can't see them.
Well, like to what you said too, that's why I was cracking up. For instance, he provides a way of escape, and you say, "Nah, I'm good." But then afterward, like you said, you straight up, you frustrated because you knew back when the door was offered that you should have went through and you didn't, and now you're in a situation where like you said, you feel like now a weapon I use a lot, which is also good, is just confession, because scripture said, if you confess your sins, he's faithful and just to forgive you. So even when, like you said, you see sometimes, because I think now I can't speak for y'all, but I used to feel like this. If I did something and I knew it was wrong and I did it anyway, I'm like, man, yo, I can't really ask for forgiveness. Now that was a trick. Nobody ever said, Trey, that's true. But like we just said it before, we wrestle against principalities. So that type of messaging like would flow through the air. So you picked up on that and was like, no, man. That's why a lot of people now, because they're with self-esteem or like, I ain't good enough or nobody, man, listen, that wind, somebody like blew that wind. And so people take that on. So then they try to scramble and fight to be something that they're not, because they're trying to fight against this specific thing that's attacking their esteem. So it's funny. So you got a lot of people whose intentions are good, but then they're just going about things wrong because they just don't understand what's exactly going down. So I'm doing this because, yeah, listen, I'm with you. You want to fight against this, but this is not the way to do it. Or there's a better way. So for me, like I said, I'm confessing a lot, and I'm just saying, like, yo, straight up, God, this is not what you wanted me to do. I know that, and I should do that, but man, I really felt like doing this. Like, no, straight up, like, yeah, I do. So, and then sometimes I'm like, I'm not there yet. So my prayer might be, Lord, can you get me there? Because see, I don't want to pray a prayer. Oh yeah, I'm there, and I'm not. I'm like, no, look, can you get me there? Like in the scripture, help my unbelief. I believe you here. I don't believe you here, or I feel like it works for everybody else, not me.
I know that's right, because I go gangster overnight. They be like, wait, what?
Listen, Latrice, I'm gonna say this without even actually like knowing. So maybe Bible says, right, you beat yourself up too much.
Yes, I do. I'm not even gonna lie.
Off of this idea, like you have this. I don't know. I can't see her right now in your house, but there's a frame of you somewhere, and you feel like that's the Latrice you need to be. But no, to be that Latrice, you beat yourself up too much. So don't try to be that one, whatever one that is.
The one thing we have to remember is God knows everything.
Yes.
He knows everything about us. He knows, and I think it's Psalms 1. Oh my God, hold on. I'm gonna give it to you. It is actually, oops. It's Psalms 139, 1-4. He search us to know us. He knows when we sit, knows when we lay down. He discerns when we go out. He knows when we get up. He knows our every thoughts. He knows what's going to come out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. So he knows everything. The same way he knew that Eve was going to be tempted in the garden.
Right.
Because he knows everything.
Knows everything about it.
He
so
knew
what he does is,
he knew what she was going to do too.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
He knew what he does is he warned you not to do it. And they decided, well, we're going to do it. No.
Well, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah, we're going to do it. we're going to do it. And you know what? It's crazy because you can literally sometimes feel the tug between the natural and the spiritual, because you want, like you said, you know what you ought to do, but then you don't do it at the same time. You don't do it, but then afterwards you feel the weight of not doing it. So you feel this struggle on the inside, as it were, because see, that's even I know we say flesh, but that's flesh is just represent when it's talked about in a negative sense, it's representative of us going contrary to God, because it's not flesh, because God made this. The devil didn't make yours, your flesh, but we use flesh to talk about the natural things versus spiritual things that are beyond us.
Beyond us, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I mean, real talk, like we sitting here talking, and I see you see me, I see your body, I see your frame, but you're more than that. You're more than that, but we can't see it because we're limited by, oh, I see you.
Yeah.
Or I see your casing. I see what you're housed in.
Yeah. What you're housed, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just like, okay, this is trippy, man, but
it's pretty deep.
Yeah, but it's so while we're in this housing, like I said, I think the integrity thing is a thing to where you like wherever it's at, that's where you need to be, oh, okay, integrity's over there, let me get there. Because that's where integral things are happening, so I need to get to that. And like you said, why might it move and grow? Because it's in a different place, and now okay, I have to get there now. Before I was here with it, now I gotta things have changed. I've grown. I've gotten stronger. I've gotten better. Some of my weaknesses are now stronger because of I'm trying to walk in integrity. Because see, that's the thing you got to ask yourself too. Okay, what does that look like for me? Because we can, like I said, we can say it. Yo, integrity. We got to walk in integrity. Okay, what's that look like for you?
Yeah.
That's like saying, man, I'm gonna work out. Okay, what's that look like for you? There has to be something you are doing. Like even with the integrity thing, I'll say it like this: there's things physically, because you were talking about prayer. That's one of them. But there's something physically you need to do.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny because sometimes we're so spiritual that we deny the fact that you ain't never been to no heaven.
Yeah.
Right.
Stay away from the wrong people. That's one.
Okay, right. Just legit, like, oh, they there, I'm over here.
And the thing about we're influenced by people. We're influenced by people.
Yes. But who are the right and the wrong people? You won't actually know that until God actually places these people in your life, and you now have to make a choice whether or not that is what's best for your life.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
so when you find out, then you're supposed to depart. Now, if you decide, when you find out, you decide that, well, they ain't that bad, that's when it starts. When you sit up there and God says, this is not the one. Okay, you need to remove them. And a lot of times our heart says, no, well, they ain't that bad. And then we want to continue to socialize with this person because it hurts too much. And because I'm one who used to, every time I had to I had to start getting rid of people. I actually mourned. I would mourn. I would
it's almost like death.
I would cry. And I said, why is you crying? They wasn't good for you. I would cry every time I had to get rid of somebody. I would cry. And I said, oh my goodness.
It's like death. It's painful. It's painful because let me explain something to you. Like when you develop friendships and relationships, and then those relationships you are severed. because you know you're separate from something. It makes you feel some type of way, and you're like, what? Wait a minute. How come now this, you know, this has to happen like this, or whatever the situation may be? And like I said, like I said, my past ain't the best. I talk about what I've been through all the time, and that's because I am at a place in my life where I can talk about it. You understand what I'm saying? But I wasn't there, and I still hang around my girlfriends, and I still hang around people who still drink. They good. That's what they good at. But I don't. They know that I don't want to go back to that life. You understand what I'm saying? So they respect me enough to know that, listen, when she come, you making her the virgin drink. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? Everything else, everybody else got, you know, a little liquor in there, whatever the situation is. But I don't want it no more. I've been there already. You understand what I'm saying? So people who are just experiencing whatever they want to experience at 30 and 40, I've already experienced it at 20, all the way up until I was 30. So I don't want it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm just at that place. But people will look at you, and then you'll be tempted. Don't get me wrong, because you'll be tempted, because people come over and be like, oh yeah, well, you don't drink no more. Won't you have a glass of wine with me, X, Y, and Z? Yeah, you need to lighten up.
Right.
And I'm like,
well, you change.
that's
Well,
not
wait a
what
minute.
I want.
Well, wait a minute. Or you think you better than us?
Yeah, you think because you don't drink no more, huh? You this person now. But I'm like, nah, I just don't want it no more.
Oh, because I don't want to get falling down drunk, right? That's a problem with that. It's a problem with not falling down drunk.
Oh yeah, you over there and you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do none of that. So you must be a saint.
So I ain't killing myself, so it's a problem. Okay.
Right.
It's like, yo, I'm still a sinner. It's just a matter that I'm not doing the things I used to do.
Right.
My struggle is a little bit different now than it was when I was struggling, when I wasn't in my right mind, drinking and doing all types of stuff. So it's like now it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm just not there. I'm just not there. And I know that these temptations are there. And what my issue is getting away from judgment, because I don't want to be that one and be like, oh yeah, well, you doing X, Y, and Z, you know, you better put that bottle down. No, I don't want to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Because what you may feel is best for your life at this time, you understand what I'm saying? And I have the ability to talk about some of the things that I've been through, but until people are really actually ready to address what they've been through in their life, it's very hard for them to actually accept, because that's a lot that people are not willing to do. You're not really willing to accept. And just like you said, who said that?
Yep, that's true.
It's having a drink and being a drunk. Oh, you absolutely correct.
That's true.
But I feel like this. I don't need to have neither. That's how I feel. I don't need to be drunk, and I don't need to have a drink. Because I don't never need to have a drink to have a good time. You understand what I'm saying? That's just me as a person. When I used to drink, yeah, I used to sip here and there, and then I used to really get drunk. So I've been on both.
You gotta be careful with your verbiage though, because I'm listening to you, right? Now, I mean, I don't care one way. I really don't care what people think about me. I'm one of those people. But you gotta be like, when you say this is a closed conversation, and it is what it is. But you gotta be, and this is with anything, it's not just the drinking. You gotta be, and I'm guilty of it. I'll give you a good, for instance. Somebody asked me about social media, and I said my kids don't have social media.
Yeah.
I'm one of those parents that know that at 14, they can't handle social media and all that comes with it. Now, I made that statement and I was told exactly what somebody just said a minute ago, that I thought my kids were better than, right? And when I played the conversation back in my mind, I could see exactly how they would take it that way. It wasn't what I was saying, right? It was just like, well, we don't have those issues here. My kids don't do social media. So And for me, it was just like, I hear what you're saying, but I can't relate because we don't go through that here.
Yeah.
But when you say certain things, depending on who's listening and the tone in which we say it, and you just said it about yourself a little while ago, sometimes it does come off as judgment. And so it's not that we can express how we feel, you know what I mean? I think oftentimes things get taken out of context, but it goes back to, because imagine having that conversation when you first meet somebody.
Yeah.
They are now questioning your morality, your ethics, because it's like, well, who does she think she is? So I just think a lot of times we gotta be, and that's all of us, right? We gotta be, it's not that we can't say what we need to say. We just gotta we gotta frame it differently depending on our audience.
Depending on your audience. Yeah.
I think too, like you said, words, that's why communication is so beautiful. So if somebody says something, you can say, well, hey, what do you mean by that? Like, for instance, Mary used the word judgment. So a lot of times, for a majority of the time, when people hear that word, we automatically think of bad judgment, when there's good judgment also. So we got to, like, even if we frame and stuff like, or that's where discernment comes in, because like, you knowing when to be involved in somebody's life. Now if you're inviting me into your life, yeah, I might be more likely to be like, or if you ask me like, yo, Trey, man, what do you think about this? I'll tell you what I think, or what I believe, as opposed to you haven't invited me per se, but now I'm in a sense, I'm breaking down your door. Man, what y'all doing with these Henny bottles up in here? You know, that's different. But if I come in and you asking me, see, now you've given me a level of permission, because see, we're all adults. So I'll try to think of it from that standpoint. But I mean, sometimes that's hard too, because some people, well, not some people, all of us, you know, you hear somebody say something and you go off that word because of whatever your experience might be with that word. But that's why I said earlier from the top, that's why we can't be looking at things as black and white. And
somebody will look back there and be like, what's she doing with that $200 bottle back there on her table?
Well, see,
but the reality is that a lot of people, yes, I've come from a drinking alcoholic lifestyle, but I'm not doing it anymore. But yes, I have lots of $200 bottles that you would think that, okay, well, she must still be drinking. She must still be doing X, Y, and Z. I got plenty of Henny bottles. I got a boatload of Ciroc bottles. And then you'd be like, well, wait a minute, they fresh bottles. Where are they coming from? They got no liquor in them. It's because I get them from someone so that I can decorate them. But people won't know that unless they ask you the questions. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they will assume when they come in your house and they tell them, listen, I've had people come in my house and be like, yo, y'all must really throw down.
Right.
In this house. Like, y'all must really get down, because they see all the Hennessy bottles. They see all the Ciroc bottles. They see all the what's those tall vodka bottles. They see all of them. And they like, yo, y'all must really throw down in here. What type of parties y'all having?
She got the tall boy.
The tall boys. You know, and you be like,
assumptions. See, that's one thing we human beings gotta stop doing, assuming stuff.
Making assumptions.
Don't come in somebody's house or in their environment and assume because of what you see, this is what they're doing. You don't even know what the stuff is for.
Or
like you said, ask the question. Stop. Get out your head and your past experiences and stop for a second and ask the question if there's something you want to know.
I was in a relationship one time where, man, both of us was I was trying to live up to the expectation of what she thought I was. So she had me on this plateau and I'm trying to sit up on it. And then from her end, she a lot of things she was either doing, practicing, she like stopped everything. So it looked like she didn't do anything. So one night we're at the house and like, you know, some people come over. So Ball knows like where the bottles are, right? So he starts pulling them out. And so I'm sitting there like, oh, I didn't know she drank. And she was heated. And she like, yo, you know, now she didn't say it like when I was around, but then I heard later she was like blacked out on him, like, yo, why you pulling all these bottles out here when Trey's there? And see, when I heard that, a lot of things went through my head. Like one of them was just like, Dag, you are like doing what all of us do.
Yeah.
Because on a certain level, I was doing that because she's like, oh, she's heard about me, but now she's put me on this pedestal. So now I'm trying to be, you know, Christian, right? But then she's like, yo, nah, I can't let it, I don't sip nothing at all. But that's not true. But see, so we could have had a conversation like, well, hey, what do you think about that? But we never got to that. We never got to those conversations because we were so busy trying to hide
image
from what we feared. Right.
You might think
right.
that somebody might think about you, or if you're doing this, what they might say about you, instead of just saying, listen, you want to drink.
Yeah. That's and I could be right. And I could just be like
a drink, but that's an insecurity.
Yes or no.
That's an insecurity.
Right.
That's insecurity when you do that.
Right.
When you think that you have to put on an air to be less than what you are,
yeah.
not less than what you are, when you have to put on the air to be something other than you are, that's an insecurity. That means you yourself don't think that you're good enough alone. Yeah. And that you don't have to put on anything. That's an insecurity, which a lot of us had. A lot of us put these here.
A lot of people look at you and be like, oh yeah, well, you know what? You know, you don't want to do that around them because you know they too churchy. Right. At the end of the day, it's like, yo, just ask a question. That's all it takes. It's about asking a question. What is churchy? That's what I want to.
I don't mess with people that's too churchy.
Well, see,
churchy is when you can't. If somebody say, "How you doing, girl? I'm blessed by the best and highly favored," and then
you got no fault,
and you go, and you try to have a conversation with them.
Girl,
Josiah got a D. You know Josiah got a D on his report card. Child, you just need to pray some more.
That's the thing.
My son he doesn't know the that one thing for oxygen. He don't know. What that got to do? Why is he praying?
Pray
That's a
well, I understand her stomach hurt. Girl, pour some oil on it, rub it and pray. That's too churchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
Some things require oil, some things don't. Right. The oil,
Some things require an enema, okay?
Right.
She got to go to the bathroom. They ain't got nothing to do with praying.
Right. I'm talking about some things require oil and some
listen, you're not listening when that is the answer to everything, okay?
That's not
right. That's not the answer to everything.
It's like I told y'all before, my cousin, we had a whole falling out. We didn't speak for like 7 months because she just had a conversation. Everything was like, oh, well, my pastor said, oh, girl, that's nothing but the devil. Oh, girl, that's nothing but the Lord. Oh, girl, listen, ma'am, I missed a step. I thought it was 2 steps instead of 3.
Fell down a step and it was the devil, girl.
How about I wasn't paying attention and slipped on that piece of paper? That's what my butt.
Exactly.
The devil's trying to take me out.
Well, wait a minute. To what Mary just said, though, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna like you said. I like what you said about sometimes it's our wording and our framing. So what you just said about it's not the answer to everything. I'm gonna say it like this. It is the answer to everything, but also, we just talked about it earlier. There needs to be a physical action behind it. So for instance, if your son is going through what he's going through, you pray, but then you also know he got to work on the oxygen. You know what I mean? So it is, see, and this is where the churchy, like another place where the churchy is. The churchy just says, forget all that, just pray. We're like, no, the knob said turn on. Right? So I can pray because overall, I want you to be healthy and well, but I also know how to work this thing. So that's what I would say. Like, no, yeah, I'm gonna pray for everything, but I also know I also know what I need to do. Matter of fact, you see that a lot of times. Yeah, I don't want to get into my sermon.
So Trey, here's the
part of
short
that is
version of that.
like
Short version of that. I said to her, the kids got their report cards and Josiah got a D in science. Okay. I'm trying to find him a tutor. Yeah. Girl, you gotta pray about that. You can't just
you can do both.
Ma'am, the boy is failing science.
Well, you
What
ain't
is he gonna be doing while I'm praying?
Pray that the tutor is the right one.
What is his job while I'm praying? Because I can't send him back in a room and be like, pray about the science test. Well,
no, Mary. You know what? Like you said, you cover your son. You know how to pray, so you pray, and then you get the tutor. Yeah. And then you pray the tutor right.
That's what I'm saying, though. I'm telling her I'm getting a tutor, and she's telling me to pray. Stop.
Well, maybe she should be telling you to pray about the tutor that you're going to get.
But if she's too churchy, she's not. She's just saying pray in the Holy Spirit.
I see what Mary's saying. She just can't have a regular conversation.
Right.
Never.
Because everything that she's saying, she's just saying pray.
Yeah.
She's saying pray. You know what, Mary? You need food in your house. Pray. Don't go buy it. Pray.
Yeah, Christianese can be a little problematic
and
because
God be sitting there like, girl, if you don't get yourself up off the sofa, you know you need food, and I done gave you the money. Get yourself up and go get that food and stop playing.
Right. Wait, he like, go tell that baby to read chapter 2 in that science book, and he'll understand.
Exactly.
I'll give you a good example. When we were just talking about Cain earlier, right? Yeah. Okay. When Eve gave birth to Cain, she basically prayed. Well, it says she knew Adam, and then she gave birth to Cain. So she said, "I've gotten a son with the help of the Lord." Now you know good and well she got the son because she had sex with Adam, but she also thanked God. So she did both. Prayed, was thankful, but she got it in with her husband. But like you said, churchy would say, "Oh, no, it's funny. There's been some people down history said, oh, no, my son, no, he don't have no dad. The spirit impregnated me." Stop lying. What? You had sex with whoever you had sex with.
Yeah.
Be thankful.
Yeah.
Praise God, but you had sex with Jerome.
So he's Jesus's sibling.
Right, Jesus Jr. He JJ.
Him and Jesus brother. That's Jesus brother.
He Jonas. That's
people
Jesus.
Need, right, Jonas. People need to stop.
Listen, that's true. To what Mary said, there is a churchy, and see, that's some things a lot of us got to still work on too.
Yeah.
Like bow down with some of your Christianese. It's too, like you said, you can't have a regular conversation.
Right.
Because you don't, it's funny, the way you talk, you don't actually live and walk out the way you all heavy on somebody else with it.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I'm saying? You telling them to pray about every little thing, and you know that's not how you operate.
You don't even pray about it.
So that's where integrity comes in, because
when you get mad, you talking about, you know what you got to do? You got to pray about that. But when you get mad, you curse like a sailor.
Yeah.
Because I'm being attacked.
I'm being attacked by the devil, and he's not going to take me down. So I'm going to make sure that I tell him about himself. No, I don't think so.
Listen, you have to watch you have to be careful of your own hypocrisy. Like, I'm not going to say no names, but I remember that time somebody said, they was like, okay, the reason your kids and everything in your life is messed up is because you're not paying your tithes. But then when you get somebody who is paying tithes and they got things going on, then it's like, oh, the enemy's attacking you. Exactly. Wait a minute, wait. How you know which one?
Which one is it?
So you trying to work it both ways, so it fits the first dumb statement you made.
Yes.
No, how about your kid acting up because they're acting up?
They acting up because they're children, And
right. Because if that's the case, basically you're paying for, Lord, I'm putting this money down for good child service.
Yeah.
Make my child behave.
I want my child to get a behavior plan and all this extra stuff too.
Right. You soak them down with oil so they behave in school. No, that
He said soak them down with oil.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay, how much oil I throw? Listen, I dump the whole oil on them. Guess what?
Right.
Listen,
Exactly. We just got finished saying Adam and Eve heard God say, don't eat that. And they said, we gonna eat that. But you think your son or your daughter, nah, because I wipe their ankles down with the oil and straight A's. Based on what? Did they study? If they didn't study, guess what they're not getting?
They getting it.
Faith without works is dead. So
that's right. You getting the F. You didn't study.
Right.
You ain't passing the test.
That's
okay?
it.
In the subject. Yeah.
You got to work. Okay, you got to put the work in.
Study.
That's what I heard.
Test.
He thought that's what I heard. You got to put the work in.
If you study, if you became under pressure when you got in with that test and you prayed and said, Lord, please help me. I got this anxiety. Now that's a different story.
No, listen. To what you said about prayer, about prayer when you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I remember there would be times in school where I know I didn't study for something, but I'm like, yeah, I go to church. So I'm praying, but help me to pass. Bro, you did not study.
You didn't study.
How you going?
How you going to pass this test?
Listen.
He was sitting up there looking at you like, if you don't open that book and stop playing with me, you
know you taking the L for this one, right? You know
that's right. That's right.
Tell me
listen.
God ain't upstairs.
No, I would get a school.
God is up there looking at us like we are crazy. He's like, if you don't get your lives together,
I would get a school. Listen, I would get a school and say, I'm not taking this L. Let me sit next to somebody who did study.
To what Tisha just said, that when I was a junior, there was times when I said, this one, I ain't passing this one. I'm going to get him on the next one.
I'm going to get him on the next one.
Let me tell you.
Let me listen. I'm going to tell you how it was this one time I said, you know what? I really did not study this, but I'm going to sit next to somebody who did.
Hello, somebody.
Hello, integrity.
I'm gonna write some good notes on this little piece of paper that I'm going to try to slip out of my pocket when I get in there. In Jesus.
You over there like.
She said, wait a minute. She said in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Oh man.
I'm gonna take a little piece of paper and write on the palm of my hand everything I could, the formula to the problems. But I was really, really studious in high school, elementary and all of that up until high school. And I really did well, but I literally would sit up at night and study and study and study. And it was really just memorization, a lot of it, whatever you could remember, and some things I knew I had to study, not the night before, but I might have had to start like 5 or 6 days before and really grind it. So my mother knew I was serious when I would come into the living room and I had my spelling list. It was spelling and vocabulary. And I would say, I need you to test me on this. She knew I was serious then. I had to spell the word. I had to put it in a sentence. I had to know the name. And then like, whatever, let's say it was 25 words and I only knew 20, and I would be like, so I'd go back and then I'd come back and I'd be like, all right, test me now. And then until I got all of them. And, she didn't mandate that. I asked her to help me. So then she knew it was like, man, she really trying to do something up in here because she asking me to test her before the test. And I was really trying to get it together. When I got to college, I thought I was studying, but I was struggling. I was really, it was just overwhelming because I was working and I just didn't feel like I had enough time. They want you to read like 4 chapters. Them chapters is like 60 pages each. I'm like, man, I got to skim this. I ain't got time to read 4 chapters.
And they were boring.
I find that I woke up in the morning and I got the book in my lap. And I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if I finished the first chapter, and now I got to go to the class. So I ain't got time to do nothing. And it was just like overwhelming. and I struggled. I had to get a tutor in college because I was like, I'm not leaving this school without my degree, but I don't know how I'm going to pass some of these classes up in here. But you know, it was like I had to do what I had to do, and I did so much tutoring. They said I maxed out at a time limit, like you only get a certain amount of hours for the semester. And I would be like, okay, so there's other kids that never use their tutoring. Can I use their hours? And they would be like, no, I promise you. I went to the vice president. I was like, I need more hours. I'm trying to pass up in here. You know, I was breaking rules left and right. Integrity was not on my side in college.
Oh, that's right.
I broke every rule they made because I was like, I ain't leaving here without this degree, and I need help. I need money and I need tutoring. I needed everything. And I needed everything for free. So it was you got to put the work in. But I do believe that, and there was times I had to repeat a couple of classes. I had to stay one summer. I had to do a whole lot of stuff just to get up out of that school. But I was determined to do it. I sat through the whole class one time, the whole semester, and was not registered because I didn't have the money. But I did not leave. I was still there. It'd be like almost May, and the teacher be like, Miss Davis, you know you still ain't paid a bill yet, in front of the whole class. And I would go, yeah, I know.
But I'm learning something.
Guess what? But I'm getting this information now.
Really, I would be so embarrassed because all of them white kids paid. You know, I used to see them. One girl was in front of me one time. She had a blank check her father wrote. So whatever the balance, it was like 8,000 something. All she had to do was write the amount in, and the bill was paid. And I was struggling. I didn't know if I was going to be able to stay. And that's stressful right there. You know, it's not just studying. You know, when you poor, you got to eat. Okay, if we being honest, there was a day I had my own apartment up there. I used to be late for my rent.
Good night, Mary.
Every month they would slide a paper under the door because I had to pay an additional late fee of $25. And I was so broke one time and I wasn't getting paid till Friday. Like I ran out of toilet paper. And I used to go and like after I took my shower and everything, I would go to campus so I could use the bathroom. And so it was like maybe Wednesday. And I was like, I still got to wait till Friday. I stole a roll of toilet paper out of the Hall of Languages at Syracuse University. And I couldn't even get the thing off the roll. I was fighting with it. But I was like, I can't keep coming up to campus just to use the bathroom. So that's how rough it got. So I can tell you this. And when I was talking about like the drug dealers and stuff like that, when people feel like they don't have options, you know, being poor will make you put integrity to the side. Because if you're living in a state of survival, when people go into cannibalism because of that state of mind, you know, so it's not always cut and dry that you should do the right thing. Because like I said, sometimes you feel like you're wronged. Like, why can't I go to the same school? Why can't I enjoy the benefit of being there? But instead, I got to worry and stress about money all the time. And meanwhile, this rich girl just gets to go. She ain't even studying because her father might know somebody somewhere and she's still going to graduate. And they just partying all the time. I'm in the library struggling. I can't get tutoring. She gets tutoring and she don't even go. And it's like, so I feel like it's not fair. So it makes you do things that you may not want to do. I mean, we used to go to the cafeteria and try to sneak food out so we could take it upstairs to our room. And you wasn't supposed to take food out. But we was like, we're going to be hungry later and we don't have money to buy food in the dorm. So, I mean, I did all of that. You know, there was times it was rich kids on our floor and they used to buy one, get one free. And when she was in a good mood, she would give us her extra pizza and we ate pizza. If she wasn't in a good mood, she would take the pizza, call us niggas, and throw the pizza in the garbage in front of us and tell us we wasn't worth her garbage. So this is what we had to do. I was called The first time I was called a nigger to my face was at Syracuse University, and I was called that at least a dozen times in my face. And so, you know, like, why do I have to deal with that? So yeah, I could have definitely, and let me tell you something. I was fighting up a storm up in Syracuse because I was straight out the Bronx, and I'd be like, I'll tell you how we resolve problems up in there.
I can't.
I'm gonna show you how we resolve it in the Bronx, and you know, it was out of control. So I could tell you, you know, when you're in that state, that you're in a state of survival, or you feel like life is just not being fair to you, you're not thinking about just doing what's right, because you might have did what's right, and you feel like that ain't working for you.
Yeah.
What's right is not working. What's right? You might be homeless now. What's right? I don't have a job. What's right? You know, like it's not working. So people, it depends on their mindset.
That's a good context. What if you are in a state of survival? That's what I said. Like, or like you just said too, some things aren't cut and dry. You got to look at, like, if I'm about to die, if I don't get food in my mouth, and I went, like you said, I stole a sandwich, did I actually do wrong because I lived?
Yeah.
So like you said, those are in the middle questions.
Go ahead.
Oh, you did, Erica?
Now, the only thing is that will God still hold you accountable for what you did? Because what you're in survival mode. I'm not saying that it's not right, because under those circumstances, you did what you had to do to live and survive. And I completely understand that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But will God still hold you accountable for what you did? Because what you did technically in his book was not right.
So
what do you mean?
That he'll forgive you
by stealing.
You're forgiven. You are forgiven. You ask for forgiveness. You are forgiven. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when you do things in the past, it comes up where you pay the price later on. So because he wants you to learn that lesson and not do it again.
A lot of times, to that, I would say a lot of times because we've all done wrong. Yeah. So I would say a lot of times we don't know when the price was paid, right? That's another interesting thing about life, because there's so many things that happen. You don't got time to be like say you got in a car accident. Man, is that because last year when I you know? So
well, I mean, okay, to me, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So what you do will come back. So it's almost the same scenario that you do to someone. Whatever you do will come back. So you steal, somebody will steal from you. Now, it may not be in the same context. It could be a company, or it could be somebody, let's say, credit card fraud. Somebody took your credit card and got your account and took your money out and used it. Now, you know, sometimes people get it back, sometimes they don't. It depends.
But what if we basically ask for forgiveness for what we have done? Because God, I don't believe that God holds those things against us. And I do believe that that's even something that the adversary does to us, makes us think that we are actually, some of the things that we have done is actually going to come back up and haunt us. Do you understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like God said, when I forgave you for it, that's it. I forgave you. Now you need to forgive yourself. So things will happen going forward in our lives, but we shouldn't look at it from the standpoint, okay, well, I stole 10 years ago. So you know what? Now this credit card fraud is coming back on me. That's almost like the adversary making us believe that.
But isn't it like the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, life for life, that sort of thing? It's almost like that. You do something.
But I always thought that eye for an eye would apply to people, not God. I didn't think it applied to God, because I mean, if you think about how we are with our kids, right? So we on the line for Disney, and one kid just hit the other their sibling, right? So you mad because they won't sit your behind, stand up. We on the line, we going in. You're not gonna say at that point, and that person maybe the child did something like knock the child down, like really like something that they should be punished for. But you're not gonna say, we going back home.
Exactly.
You might hit the child real quick, snatch them up. You might threaten their life. You might pull them up and you do it, you know, wait, hold on. I gotta get the face. If you do that thing, you know how you, when you gotta do that, you know, you gotta threaten their life when you wait, you know, but you still going into them doors. You ain't leaving Disney because that child just acted up. Or that child had a tantrum outside on the line. You might snatch them up, but you're not going to deny all of them kids going up in there. Or even if it's the one child, you done flew all the way down there, y'all going inside. And I think also what we think about, when you think about our kids, we punish them a lot, but they get away with a lot. There's a lot of stuff they should have got beat for or punished for, and they didn't. There's a lot of things that you just, if you correct them all day, like that's all you'd be doing.
My thing is, we'll never, the thing about it is you'll never learn. If now God he forgives us all. Yeah. But I truly believe he reprimands. There's some lessons that we go through life and we learn, so we will not do it again. So we won't continue in that behavior, because he forgives you. But if you're gonna keep going back and doing it, oh God, please forgive me, or he don't forgive, oh please forgive me, and you just.
Well, he knows going, if we're not being sincere.
If he does not allow you to a lesson to come through your life to teach you to stop behaving that way, then you'll continue to do it, and you won't learn anything, and you won't grow.
Yeah. Right, and he's not gonna let us play with him. You know, he knows if we're sincere in our apology.
He does reprimand you. He gives you a lesson. You get a lesson.
He knows our heart.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk though, if you also, there are things that you have learned your lesson on. Mm-hmm. There are things that this is your 800th time God showed you he's still being merciful. So you got all these different levels. There's things that you've now learned. There's things that you still ain't get yet. Yeah. And then there's things you about to get an understanding of. It's taking some time. But to the other point you made too.
Yeah, I'm on my 8,000 time of arguing.
Man,
like I said, I listen. He know me, like I in no way, shape, or form, and that's why I said. And even Trey pointed it out, like, yo, I beat myself up. I'd be like, dang, man, like, yo, like, when am I gonna get this right? But if I was supposed to get it right today, guess what? At this point, listen, I said, Lord, you know my heart. You know, sometimes I just can't, I just can't, I gotta go that way. You understand what I'm saying? And he knows who I am. So for me to even think in any way, shape, or form that I need to go ahead and beat myself up because I struggle with something, it's almost like saying, like, God, like you don't have the power to change me. He do. He got the power to change me. And also I have the ability to just continue to keep hearing him. It's just all about whether or not I'm going to be obedient at that time. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it's like me is because he knows my emotions, because that's another thing, controlling your emotions, because that emotional part is what actually comes in a text and be like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna have to take a step back. I always know when I don't feel right in my spirit and I'm about to say something that I shouldn't say. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like, it's like sometimes I hold in a lot of things that I just shouldn't hold in. Needs to come out. It should have came out a long time ago. But instead, I just chose not to say it because you don't want to say something that you just can't take back. And then you turn around and blow up like the World Trade. But some things have to be said. Some things have to be done. Mm-hmm. Some things have to happen in order for you to get to a place that God wants you to get to. Mm-hmm. And that might take some pain. You understand what I'm saying? That might take some uneasy conversations. That might even take some uneasy things that you're going to go through to get there. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that God's not going to, He not going to look at me and be like, oh, you know what? I'm definitely not going to bless you. I'm definitely not going to take care of you. I'm definitely not going to do X, Y, and Z. See, that's one thing I'm not going to put in my head, because I used to do that. I used to do that all the time. I used to be like, oh my God, you know what? Because I did this, God is not going to forgive me. He is really punishing me. God don't punish nobody. He loves us that much that he doesn't punish us. He's given us the opportunity every single day to change. That's why he gives us that grace and that mercy. That's why he allows us to have it, because he's saying, you know what? I see you struggle. I see you got issues, because I knew you had issues from the beginning. So I'm gonna give you opportunity. I'm gonna give you new grace. And whatever the situation may be, whether or not my life, if I'm supposed to be here today or tomorrow, whatever it may be, it's only by his will. It's not by mine.
Right.
I don't even have that ability to say, you know what? Yeah, I got next 10 years. Nope. I don't know what I have. All I know is that, Lord, if I'm here another day, if I did something that was not pleasing to you in your sight or whatever, show me how to do it differently, because I struggle. You understand what I'm saying? And in that struggle, it's like I said, I don't know if anybody else, but I used to beat myself up so much, and I still do beat myself up. I just don't do it as much. So I just try to look at it from the perspective, you know what? Yeah, I struggle with that. But I have the opportunity to say sorry. I have the opportunity to do it immediately, because the same way that I dished it out immediately, I'm gonna give it back immediately, because you know what, I could have said it a little different. And this is a learning experience for me. I'm still trying to learn how to control my emotions. And God knows that very thing about me. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't want to beat myself up anymore. I don't want to be the victim. I'm not a victim. I'm still learning. And each and every individual that comes into my life, they're still learning. My children are still learning. I'm still teaching them. I'm still learning how to be a mother, a good one, a loving one, put it that way. I'm still learning how to be a loving wife. I'm still learning how to be a loving daughter and a good friend. You understand what I'm saying? So all these things are things that we're still learning how to do, because at one point in time, I wasn't a good friend. At one point in time, I wasn't a good mom. At one point in time, I wasn't a good wife. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm still learning how to adapt and do all of these things, because I could only do what I know.
Right. Well, the thing is, we're never going to be perfect. Exactly. And what he wants us to do is what you're just doing, admitting that you need God.
Yes.
That's all he wants you to do. Admit you need him, submit to him, depend on him, pray to him, be faithful to him.
Trust him.
And he will fix the situations.
That's right.
We're going to grow through grace. There's nothing great that we're doing.
That's right.
I got it wrong for decades before I started to get it a little bit right. And it was like, well, I tell you, when I was a kid, I feared my mother more than God.
Okay.
And there was some things she would threaten me, but the line that always scared the mess out of me, she would say something like, if I gotta leave my job to come to that school, only the Lord could help you.
That's a popular one.
That was only the Lord could help you. Now, I had 2 grandmothers. I had aunts, cousins. I said, all the family and friends that I have on earth, nobody could help me but the Lord. Like nobody on the planet, like it was, 8 million people in New York City alone. I said, nobody could help me. I lived in a high-rise building, 26 floors. All them people in my building, nobody could help me but the Lord. And I didn't know him. I didn't have a relationship with the Lord when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, that scared me beyond life. I'd be like, my grandmama can't save me. Nobody can help me but the Lord. I don't know him. And I would be like, that line just did it for me. I'd be like, I bet you one thing, she never had to leave that job to come to my school. When I got in trouble, I would beg. I would go voluntarily into the principal's office and beg him. I would say, call the police, but don't call my mother.
Oh my goodness.
I'd rather go to jail, but you cannot call my mother.
Don't call my mama.
Don't call my mama.
Okay.
She wasn't playing no games.
Never.
But yeah, so I mean, and that at that time, I knew, like, I had grandmothers who prayed a lot. My mother, she was Catholic, but there was like a season she wasn't really going to church that often. And so I would say, like, my grandma knew the Lord. I knew they knew the Lord, but I didn't know the Lord. But I figured I could get a hookup.
I'll live for you, hear me.
Because they would say they praying for me. So I'd be like, well, you know what? I can get a hookup through my grandmama.
Can I get the prayer hookup?
Can I get the prayer hookup? Can you ask Jesus for a favor for me? Could one of your prayers be this? And I remember when I went to college, I think I was a junior.
Mm-hmm.
When now my college boyfriend was AME, and I didn't know what I was. I wasn't anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking for a church home at Syracuse. And we started going to different churches. We went to the one on the campus. We went to a couple of them. Then there was an AME church he really liked. We went over there. And then I started having these nightmares, these crazy dreams that my body separated from my spirit.
Oh, shucks. She was having them out-of-body experiences.
Some out-of-body experience. And I could see my body laying on the bed. And it was like floating in the air, something. And I would be fighting and fighting and fighting to try to wake up. And when I finally did wake up, I would be like exhausted. I would be upset. I didn't know what was going on. And then, like, one time my boyfriend and my girlfriend was downstairs and we was all studying, but I went upstairs because I was too tired. And I could hear them just talking and laughing. And I'm trying to wake up. And in my mind, I'm calling their names and they don't hear me. And when I finally woke up, I went downstairs. I was like, y'all didn't hear me screaming your name. And they was like, no, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I had another one of them dreams and this and that. And I didn't know what was going on. And there was a girl on my job who was very religious. And she was my boss. And I asked her, and she said, have you been like going to church or praying lately? And I said, yeah. And she was like, oh, she said, well, God and the devil are fighting for your soul. Huh? She said, well, you know, you've been living a life of sin. So you was good. You was going on straight to hell. But now you want to turn around and give your life to God. You looking for a life with Christ. So devil's about to lose a soul. So he fighting for you. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold up, Jesus.
I don't know nothing about that.
I'm about to go to hell. Wait a minute. Can I detour? And she was like, so she said, well, when that happens, just rebuke the devil in the name of the Lord. Just rebuke him. So now when all of this is going on, I ain't thinking about what she said. I'm still going through all of this foolishness. And then I called my grandmother. And I was like, I don't know what to do, but I didn't want to go to sleep no more. I was like, I ain't going to sleep. And so she said, when it happened, she said, the devil can't stand when you pray. He can't be around prayer. So she said, do you know the Lord's Prayer? And I said, yep, I think that was the only prayer I knew. She was like, you know the Lord's Prayer? Yep. She was like, just say the Lord's Prayer. So it happened again. I ain't think about it. I'm fighting. Then I think it was the next time I was praying before I went to sleep, trying to get one up.
Yeah.
Then I went to sleep. And when it happened, I said, Our Father, and I was up. I was awake right up in a second. As soon as I said Our Father, I was up.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, hey, this is working. If I pray, it ain't happening.
Have any of y'all ever had out of body experiences?
No.
That's some serious.
I've had.
What do they call it? The witches. What is the witches something?
I've heard of astral projection.
No, but I just said, what do they call that? The witches something when your eyes are open, you're awake, but you can't move or talk.
Oh, wow.
You have a witch on your back.
Right in your back.
Thank you. That's it. And that happened to me when I was younger, and it happened to me like last year or something like that. And I just said, Jesus, please help me, and it was over.
Yeah,
but it happened a number of times.
Yeah, I've had a number of out of body experiences when I was younger.
Oh, wow.
So when I was a kid, like anywhere between 9, 10, and 11, I would basically be up. My body never moved, but I could see my body laying in the bed. I had everything around in my bedroom. And then as I got older, hold on, honey. Not tonight. Go upstairs.
That's gotta be scary though. That's gotta be scary.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah. As I got older, it happened like maybe a couple more times. Don't do that. Don't interrupt, mommy. You wait. Go sit down. So as a couple of times, as I got older, it happened like maybe 2 or 3 more times. But the last time that it happened was my son was going through something and I had no idea. And he basically, I saw him in like a corner. It was so scary. I saw him in like a corner. He was like covered in like a fetal position. And I was standing by my wall. I could see the whole bedroom and everything. It was so scary. Wow. And it was like this spirit coming charging right at me. And I said, Satan, get behind me. And I woke up. And I tell you no lie, I went to my son and I went to him after this. Mind you, he wasn't even in my house. So my child was not in my house when this all happened. He lived somewhere else. So I went, when I had woke up the next morning, I went and talked to him, and he told me he was going through all of this stuff. So I was just like, Lord, like, it was like something that basically gave me that, that premonition that he was going through, and I had to get to him to save him from what he was going to do. So that it was deep, but it was like, like now I get it. You understand what I'm saying? But I haven't had him since. I have not had him since.
I've heard, that's now right. I've heard that called the astral projection or whatever, something like that. Some people.
I've never heard of that term.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, some people. They were able, like I remember one guy's testimony. I mean, I don't even know how he was able to just start doing it a lot. But what happened was he was messing around where he shouldn't have. And like you said, he was, I guess, attacked, or he knew, like, God was like, listen, stop doing that. Just because you know how to do it.
Yeah.
And so I thought about that. And then
what do you mean? He was doing it on purpose?
He was doing
right,
it by
right.
himself,
He
like
had
he
had the ability,
No
right. So that's why I was
way.
like, listen, that's why I said, listen, there's a
wait, he had the ability to do what? I missed it. He was basically having these out of body experiences on his own, like
he knew how to do it.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
yes, like, on some Doctor Strange stuff, like,
That's weird.
Oh, no.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I thought about that, and then I thought about what Erica said about the because y'all said the one term, but I thought about the other thing. They call it resting. I don't think they call it resting demon, but something where something's sitting on you, so you can't get up.
Get
So
up.
like you said,
Can't talk or
yeah. So
I've
that's what
had
this
that.
guy had.
I've had that out
Okay.
of body experience.
Okay.
Oh,
So
you
that's what
had,
they-
It's like
you had it?
something is holding you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what
holding-
that's what happened. The guy who did the astral projection, he started doing it so much. That's what started happening. He started having things pull. He couldn't go where he used to go because now, and so, and this was before, I think this was before he like came to God, something like that. But then he knew, like, he was like, man, I gotta stop
I'm doing it. Yeah.
messing around, with this stuff. Because see, that's another thing. A lot of people, especially the church, which I don't understand, they don't think there's a spiritual world. They'll talk about the spirit. Oh, the spirit. But they don't think there's an actual, like, no, God comes from the unseen. We can't see him. He's in the unseen realm. And in that realm, there's a lot of other things. Yeah. So we, like I said, we sit here and believe in the virgin birth, but don't think there's ghosts. How you?
And we're spirits. We're all spirits. We're spirits. The body is just a shell.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So we're made in his image. How can he be a spirit and we not?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make sense. But like you
Say
said,
that all shop him must.
But you know what? I think people are scared to talk about it. I really do think people are afraid to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. And I think
the fear of the unknown.
And I can only imagine. I mean, if you think about it, that means that you walk around here and you got spirits floating. You can't see none of them, but they're around.
They're right there.
They're really around.
That's what I said. As we speak, we were talking about it earlier, where people, the attack, like for instance, low self-esteem, things like that. Mm-hmm. There's we're limited in our vocabulary, but there's a spirit, or there's an aura that pushes that. So you, in a sense, you take that in. That's why some areas. It's funny, I forgot who said it earlier. Oh, when Latrice was talking about, okay, she's like, I'm not getting into drinking because of what that produces. Uh-huh. Now, there are certain places we can't go because the air of that brings out the worst in you. So you like, yo, they thrive and other people thrive in there, but you like, I can't be in that environment because that environment is conducive of me.
It's toxic.
Right. So we like to talk about like air pollution, like the natural thing, but there's a spiritual equivalent to, get out of there, man. Get out of there.
Our souls are very sensitive to certain things, and that's what it is. Our spirits are sensitive.
Yeah.
So if we don't watch it, certain things will be able to enter.
Yeah.
Enter our space, our spiritual being.
We're unique in that we in a sense, we're in both realms in a sense, because like you said, we're spirit, but because we're in these bodies, we're tied to earth. So we're in this, like, it's almost like a middle ground thing where you like, wait a minute, we like, I think about in in John where it says in the beginning was the word and the word was with God and all that. So if you go read down further, it says he created all things visible and invisible. And so it's like, wait a minute. Oh, so yeah, the things you see and the things you don't see. Because invisible isn't, see, we think of invisible as not there. No, invisible is you can't visualize it. It's there,
but it's there.
yeah.
It's still
That's
there.
it. It's there.
Mhm.
It's like I always think about like the wind. You can't see the wind, but how do you know the wind is here?
How do you know
Because
the
of
wind is
effect.
blowing? You
Right.
feel it.
Right.
Right.
So the same thing as far as spiritual things and spiritual warfare. Okay, well, how do I know? Okay, look at people, look at decisions. That's how you track it. It's like the wind.
And that's why God says we walk by faith and not by sight.
Yep.
Because you can't see him.
That's
And
right.
I've been telling my grandbaby, because she's like, can I draw a picture of God? I said, you can draw a picture of Jesus, but you can't draw a picture of God. And she's like, why? And I said, because he's a spirit and no one has seen him. I said, we don't know what he looks like. We have no idea. He's everywhere. He's all over. There's no form. And she's like, I want to draw a picture of God. You can't. You cannot draw a picture of God. I said, you've never seen a picture of God. Nobody has drawn a picture of God. You cannot. And she's like, so she's like, but he does exist.
Yeah.
How do we know he exists? He lives inside of us. He's everywhere. And so he takes up the space, like the air, like everything. There's no form, but he does exist.
That's right.
We know there's a Holy Spirit. Why? Because we feel it.
And like you just said too, I always think, okay, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So what's evident that's not seen? Like I said, you, if God's working within you, that's a way for me to see God without seeing God, but I see him working in your life. And
right.
Like, that's some of the evidence, man. Look at like, listen, when people are loving and taking care of each other and things like that, it's like this. We're all made in his image, but not everybody wants to represent him.
Right.
That's two different things. So you made in his image. Now the question is, you gonna rep him? So some people are like, yay, I will. Other people are like, no, I'm not repping.
Well, it's just like if you have a lot of kids and some of them are acting one way and others are acting out, like completely rebellious, completely, it's like you got 6 kids, but 3 of them are acting one way and 3 another way. And, because some people always say, kids are a replica of their parents, but that's not always the case. Because when you have a child that's like really, really, what they call like an exemplary child, very good child, and then you got the bad one, they both came from the same parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They are a reminder, just from the basic level of just from the DNA. Okay. That's your parents. But the question is, do they, like you said, do they go on to like, hey, represent what they want you to represent?
Yeah.
So
do they represent God? After you've taught them everything and you might have schooled them, you may have gave them information, you might have even had them in church, whatever the situation may be. Now it's their choice to figure out whether or not they're going to serve.
That's why a lot of people.
But kids are rebellious, and also they don't necessarily agree with what you agree with.
Adults are rebellious.
They don't always agree, because let's say you might have grew up in the church, you might be the pastor and the first lady, but they're like, first of all, y'all argue in the house all the time, and then y'all get up there in front like life is great. Second of all, y'all always at the church and y'all don't pay me no mind. I want your time. Y'all want to counsel everybody else, but what about me?
What about me? Yeah.
Listen, a lot of people, it's funny, a lot of people have left church because the ones who are supposed to represent God Now, God isn't like this, but they see God through that person. So they're like, oh, if this is what he's like, I'm good.
I don't want to be a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're representing in a bad way, because that's he wants to use us humans to represent who he is. Like, hey, this is a way of seeing me.
That's how my older kids are.
Yeah.
Like you always, we was always in church. I don't want to be there. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
My daughter never wants to go to church now.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, you know, look at the model that we shown them. Like, hey, you need to be in church. It's not about being in church. It's about exemplifying Christ,
having a relationship with the Lord.
Relationship with God. Like, it was never really about a building. It was about you and having that relationship with him. And saying, you know, that we can come, it just goes to show that we can fellowship outside of a building on a regular basis. So, you know, it's all about getting that understanding and really getting a clear cut understanding of, okay, you know, who is it about? Is it a religion or is it the relationship? Because it's about relationship. The relationship
it should be about the relationship. Yes.
Like you said, remember that expression we used to say back in the day, yo, man, can I live? Right? We used to say, so that's what it comes down to. I think that they've been saturated with the duty. And obviously some of it is, and on a certain level, some of it is duty, but they don't see the life in it. So they don't think it's vibrant. It ain't, man, this ain't vibrant. See, it's like for me, when I think about it, it's like fluency. When I'm trying to learn a language, the goal is to be fluent. So when I'm fluent, man, now that thing's coming out of me. But if I only look at it like, let me study, do this, and I can't get any life out of it, then it's a task that I don't look forward to. But if I see it as life-giving, that changes the whole perspective. Like you said, if it's not relational, then it's just religious. And if it's just religious, it's almost like I go through the motions. I did what you told me to. Like we talked about this last night. Like when you were made to apologize to your sibling when you did something, your mom like, tell your brother you're sorry. Now you say it because they right in front of you say it. The question is, do you mean it?
No.
Heartfelt? No. But you passed the test of, I'm sorry. All right, get out of here. Because they can't get inside and be like, listen, I went inside. I felt, no, you lying. So the same thing with God and church, and I don't want to go to church no more, this and that. God has to actually have to be like, I always say spiritual tattoos. Like people get tats because they want to represent something. Man, if you're not trying to rock, yo, man, I just got tat in my heart, then all it is really just make sure I do this because my mom told me, my grandma told me, or I'm old enough now, so I don't got nothing to do with that because I'm trying to live life, not knowing that, oh, he's the giver of life. Oh, wait a minute, he's the giver of life. I'm trying to live. Oh, that makes sense. But if you don't see that yet, then you're going, you know.
I don't know why people think your life is just born until when you follow Christ. Why do people think that your life just is sorry after that? You're boring, you don't do nothing. Where do the people get this stuff from?
Well, Western society. Well, we built those methods, right? And this is the religion. So when they think it's boring, because what we presented to them was get dressed on Sunday, do this, do that. So they hear these do's, right? But everybody's not the same. Everybody don't live in the same country. Everybody don't live in the same context. So what happens is when I'm not able to match the do's, then I'm like, okay, what's this about? Like you said, listen, if all it is getting up on a Sunday and making sure I go to this building for 2 hours and that's it, then yeah, it is boring. But we present it like a Sunday thing. We don't present it like a life thing. We don't present it as, yo, man, this God wants to fundamentally change your heart, your perspective. We don't
like
do
being a
that.
robot. It's like being
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. We built a prototype and now everybody has to be like this. But it, like I said, doesn't make sense because people evolve. Like 60 years ago is different than now. 60 years previous than that was different now. Whole lifestyles and things were different. The only thing, it's funny, this is what I tell people about the gospel. Just like God, the gospel is it's shapeless. So, well, how do we know about the gospel? The gospel looks at the context of where people live in, and it lands there. Like wherever you're at, that's where God comes to. Like, I'll give you a good example. Missionaries, Western missionaries, the Europeans, they went to China, right? Because they were like, we're gonna give them the word. They don't know about Jesus. They get there. They find out these people have already been worshiping Jesus. The only reason they didn't know it is because they weren't using the Romanized name. But the elements and the concept was there. Okay, we worship the only God who created heaven and earth. So it was like a Chinese name. So they're thinking, well, how come you're not saying Jesus? Well, first of all, Jesus is English. That's English. They speak Mandarin. So we're caught up. We're so caught up in our culture where God says, no, I come to the culture because you can't get out of your culture. So I meet you in your culture. I'm greater than the culture, but I'm beyond understanding. So in order for you to understand me, I'll come to you in your culture, just like I come to you in your language. Because God's name isn't Jesus, but that's English. We understand it. We don't understand whatever, you know what I mean? So we miss that whole concept of even the name God. That's just a title,
right,
of the greatest. So whoever he is, well, I mean, the closest we got is Moses said, what's your name? He said, I am. So I am, that's his name, I am. And he holds the title of God. He also holds the title of Lord. Because you hear people call people my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. So
listen, he also holds the title of doctor, nurse.
Yeah, listen, I said he's the greatest. He's the greatest substitute. Because think about all the names they call him in the Bible. Those are names we use in everyday things. Like you said, like back in medieval times, whoever like your boss was, it was your Lord. My Lord, we finished doing this. So that's not but Christians act like these are just God words. No, Lord and God. Like, no, they're words. But God says, okay, I'll use that word to let you know who I am.
Yeah.
Like, the Lord is the highest thing in your community. Well, guess who I am? I'm Lord.
I'm Lord.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Or King. That's what King of Kings, Lord of Lords.
Yeah.
Right. So he comes into the words we already use. But Christians say, no, these are godly words. No, they're human words.
Because if it was
language, right.
If it was Hebrew, it would have been a different name.
Right. But that's why I said the God thing. In the Hebrew, God or Elohim, I think we just talked about it earlier. Elohim is just another way. It's like it's a term of residence. Like if we were New York, if we were lived in New York, we would be called what? New Yorkers. So when you have an Elohim, you're like, oh, that's somebody from the spirit world. Now God, he's the Elohim of Elohim, but everything from the spirit world is an Elohim, i.e. a God. But in English, we capitalize the God to differentiate from the lowercase. But for the ancient Hebrew, like, oh no, an Elohim is someone from the spirit world. Now, like I said, God is an Elohim, but no Elohim is like him. He's the greatest. That's why I tell people, yo, there's other gods. I'm not going to discuss that with you. I'm not going to fight that with you. There are other gods, but there's one that's greater than all of them. Yeah. See, I'm not disputing other gods, other spirits, because you can pray to your God and your God can, quote unquote, do something for you. My only argument would be, man, don't mess with that, because you tapping into stuff. I'm using these powers, bro. I ain't denying that you got, but that's the wrong power.
You don't want to be opening up those doors.
Yeah, you're right. You opening up doors.
Who you telling? Yo, we need to talk. I don't know if I want to talk about that.
Or you don't. Why not?
Because I know we should talk about it.
That gotta be a topic one week.
Talk about what?
That Wiccan, that Ouija board, that demon. Yeah. That gotta be a topic. I mean, something that we have to.
Because I say this, if you don't, you're ignoring part of the things we wrestle against. Because think about it, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities. Right. Yeah. Principalities are rulers in high places. Right. And we ain't talking about presidents or all that. No, it's the fallen ones. Yeah. I'll say it like that, the fallen ones. And they got power. They don't have more power than the Most High, but folks like sleeping on the flat. No, they got power.
Yeah.
So that is something, yeah.
It'll be a topic and probably next month, but not next 2 weeks.
I know that. What you say, delay days.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. In 6 months.
That's right.
You want to do it 6 months? You want to wait till the summer? You want to wait till the summer?
Next 2 months, it will be all right. No, summer's too hot for me.
Wait, 2 ARKs be too hot. Okay.
I'll still do it while it's cold.
Listen, well, there's a good book I'm reading now. I mean, it's really dense, so I don't know, but I still say anyway. It's called The Unseen Realm. So it's the Unseen Realm, taking back the supernatural view of the scripture. Because there's so many things in scripture that deal with this, but we ignore it because we like, oh, I don't know about that. Let me go.
So we too busy talking about Cain. We too busy talking about Cain and Abel, Jacob and Leah.
Yeah.
And you don't want to talk about
finding my Boaz.
Yes.
We too busy talking about all of that stuff, and we
instead of talking about the realms that
some of that stuff in that Bible, people.
And you don't want to talk about where the sons of God slept with the daughters of men.
Yeah, that's and the men was sleeping with the men. They was coming looking for the men behind the wall. And they tried to get to them, and I'm like,
they tried to the angels. Yeah, the angels that were in Sodom. Yeah, they were trying to I'm like, bro, that first of all, we've already dealt with that violation because in Genesis, where when eventually the flood had to come, you have fallen ones. See, that's another mystery. You have fallen ones who slept with human women and they had babies. So those things.
I'm talking about spirits
and animals too. There isn't about animals.
But wait, wasn't these angels in like fallen angels and stuff like that?
Well, sleeping with the
sun. See, that's what right. So think about that.
I thought it was human beings sleeping with animals.
No. Because see, the way it's work, and see, that's the thing. When you go and read that passage, it says that the sons of God looked upon the daughters of men.
Yeah.
And slept with them, and then they gave birth to the Nephilim. Yeah. So that's the big question, like the Nephilim. And that's it. Listen, that's there right there in scripture, but people are like, no, that was human men. So I'm like, no. Look at the context.
Yeah.
Why are you going to make it? That wouldn't make sense to be like, oh, because then you're saying, wait a minute, men slept with women.
No.
But wait a minute, get this. I just typed in. It's a website called openbible.info. And I put in, what does the Bible say about having sex with animals? And in here, it tells you whoever lies with an animal shall be put to death. Them people was lying with animals in there.
Oh, some people were, that's real talk. Listen, some people today, boy got arrested last year. He kept going to his neighbor's in his neighbor's heart and something with the horse. and they finally had to arrest him. So that's
Yeah.
called I forgot what you call that.
It's
I forgot what you called it. But people, 'cause
yeah,
I
it's
was
called
listening,
bestiality.
I was listening to a coach and he spoke about the Bible. He said that he's a spiritual based coach. He said that everybody act like what's going on this earth is new. He said, if you read the Bible, you will understand that everything that is happening now happened in that Bible. He said slavery too. Slavery was in the Bible too.
Scripture says nothing new under the
It's
sun.
nothing new. Yeah, it's nothing new. It's just that all it's doing is repeating itself. It's
Itself.
just going over it
And
again.
we're doing it now in a different timeline.
Different time.
That's it.
See, back then they
That's
had
it. That's
cars.
all.
Now we got
And that's
cars.
all. And that's why these laws and stuff were written, because God is trying to say this stuff has already happened. I'm trying to teach y'all how to stay away from it, how to deal with it and all that stuff. I'm giving you guidelines to show you what to do to remove yourself from these situations.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
seems like we're just repeating ourselves. over
Yeah, that's all we doing. We just sitting there
It
doing the same stuff they did.
and he keeps giving us this opportunity to get it right over.
Mhm.
And he keeps putting us in the same situations, just with different people.
Right.
So it's pretty.
He said, you're gonna repeat this step until you get it right. I'm gonna keep doing this until you get it together, until you get the lesson from it. But it's just
Erica, so in 2 weeks we gotta talk about this movie, Tall Man. Oh my God!
oh yes.
Don't watch that movie.
See, I told you.
Man,
That's a good
You
movie.
gotta watch the movie.
I have a question about that.
It's so deep. What?
Did
Go ahead.
everybody watch it?
No, not everybody.
No, we're gonna talk about it in 2 weeks.
Wait, hold that question. Hold that question.
Hold that question.
Wait,
wait a
when
minute,
did you
can I
see?
ask
What
you a
did you see it on, Latrice?
Did you like it?
It's on Prime.
It's on
Okay.
Prime.
Prime TV.
Right.
Did you like it, Mom?
I kind of fell asleep on the.
She fell asleep.
I'll go
I
spoil it.
kind of fell asleep, but I do have a serious question because I didn't. The ending was very, very
Deep.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Very deep.
Yes, it was.
Very
Y'all,
deep.
Tisha,
That's why y'all gotta watch
Helena,
it.
Tisha, Helena, and Trey. If y'all
Yeah,
get a chance,
Helena,
please
Trey.
watch that.
Get
Please
to
watch
the bottom of the Tall Man.
Yes.
On Prime. You have got to watch it all the way to the end.
Yes.
Please. And we have
Look at Trey. He said,
we got to talk about it in 2 weeks.
yes.
2 weeks we talking about it. It's so freaking deep that
That's
There
it,
is,
right?
yup, the tall
Yes.
man.
Okay.
yes, the tall man.
It
We
did
gonna
not end up.
talk
I
about
was sitting there like, what are you serious?
yeah, that's how I was. I was like, wait,
Oh, with Jessica Biel, Seventh Heaven.
Oh, it's good.
it was deep. It was
Yes.
really, really deep.
Oh, I gotta watch this with like 20 people at daylight. All right.
Yeah.
He said daylight.
Listen, cause I was like, I don't think I want to watch this at
She
night.
gonna send me a text message talking about something. Is this thing scary? Is it?
I said it's scary, it's suspenseful,
It's
it's
not.
crazy all at the same time.
Yeah, it's not like it's not. I mean, it's not like scary to the point where it's a lot of bloodshed and all this. It's not. It's none of that.
No.
It's none of that.
But
It's
it's
just
deep. It's
it's
deep.
deep.
You gotta see it though. You got to
it's
see it.
deep.
So
Y'all got to.
oh,
You gotta-
yeah.
Erica, what was the name of the Bible thing that you said you just looked up?
Oh, it's called openbible.info.
openbible.info. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can say, what does the Bible say about this? And that's a popular website. It always pops up and it gives you all the scriptures that are based around whatever topic you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I use it all the time.
So listen, 2 weeks, guys, we're gonna come back together. We got to get to the bottom of.
And you know, this is the third time we done been 3 hours.
Yes. But you know what? It's okay because we still coming together. We coming together in fellowship. We coming together in love. We coming together in, and just as community. So it's all right. I got to put this baby to bed because she done fell asleep in my arms.
I see her
the whole entire night to come upstairs and sleep in her bed. So I
Oh,
gotta take her upstairs.
oh,
Put her in bed. She sleep now.
that's
But, but 2 weeks, let's come back together, pray us out so we can get out of here and go to sleep and get some rest.
All right. Well, I'm,
You know,
I'm
'cause
I'm
we
downloading Prime right now. Like,
we old.
Yes, he probably gonna watch the movie.
Go watch the movie. Go
I
ahead,
might watch it
Jay.
tonight. I better go to
Go
bed,
ahead,
but I might
Jay.
watch it tonight.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
telling you,
Jay.
you're gonna be up and rest of the night talking about what?
No, yeah. You know, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait early in the morning. Yeah.
All right, let me stop the recording so you can pray us out.